Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome all members and guests to the October 28th, 2025 council meeting. Quick reminder for everyone that our meetings are web streamed and televised, so if you could take a moment to ensure your phones are on silent, that would be greatly appreciated. If you're joining us virtually, just a quick reminder, keep your camera on, your microphone muted, and if you are staff, use your raise hand feature icon to be called upon and remove it after you've finished speaking. With that, I call the October 28th, 2025 council meeting to order, and note that all members of council, with the exception of Councillor Duthie, who sends his regrets, are present today. The municipality of Norfolk County is committed to furthering truth and reconciliation in our communities. We recognize the historical and current contributions of Indigenous peoples throughout Canada, and particularly in Norfolk County, that have added to the rich cultural and social fabric that exists here today. We will strive to continually strengthen and develop the spirit of respect, cooperation, and collaboration to the mutual benefit of all Norfolk County residents. And before we begin, I'd just like to take a quick moment and acknowledge and extend our thoughts to our Jamaican community members and offshore workers as Hurricane Melissa continues to intensify. Many here in Norfolk County have family, friends, and loved ones who are being directly impacted. On behalf of council, we certainly stand with you and hope for everyone's safety and swift recovery in the days ahead. The agenda is before council. We have two recommended changes. One is to include a deputation from Paula Jongerden regarding item 15.1, my motion for Forestry Farm gas wells. And the second is to move the drainage presentation from the consultant to accompany the staff report. That requires a 2/3 majority. Are there any other changes? Councillor Van Passen.
When it comes time to do bylaws, can I pull item 14.1, the bylaw, to dealt with separately, please?
14.1 separately. Yep, you might have to remind me at that time as well, but yes. With that, 2/3 majority to Councillor Micheli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to ask that I'd like to make a couple of comments on our communication item 6.3, the email from Mr. Garfield, please.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Clerk.
Thank you. And just to note that one of the deputations was unable to make it today, so they've sent someone in their place for them.
Okay. So that's addition of a deputation, move a drainage presentation, separate out 14.1 as a bylaw, a change on a deputation participant, and a communications item for Councillor Micheli. 2/3 majority first, mover and a seconder. Councillor Van Andriesch, Councillor Columbus, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. And then adoption of the new agenda, please. Mover and seconder. Councillor Micheli, Councillor Brunton, all in favor? Carried. Any declarations of pecuniary interest today? Councillor Van Passen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a deemed conflict on item 12.1, it's report PW 25009, and the accompanying bylaw 14.1.
Thank you. And I will be declaring on 13.2.3. I actually do not have a conflict, but out of an abundance of caution, a family member is involved on that property, so I will step away. Consent items. None. Sorry, 5.1, Haldeman Norfolk Housing Corporation Shareholder Resolution, CS 25-157. No one's pulled that, so a mover and a seconder to receive it as information, please. Councillor Berry, Councillor Brunton, all in favor? Carried. Communications, there are 3 items today. Councillor Micheli, 6.3, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. The communication item is an email from Mr. Garfield Eaton regarding the Port Rowan Harbor Marina and the sustainability questions around that marina. I believe Mr. Eaton would like it to be known that there has been established an ad hoc Port Rowan Harbor Committee in Port Rowan, made up of interested and concerned residents from the area. but the communications we have today from Mr. Eaton were written by him prior to his membership on that committee. So I just want to make that distinction. Thank you.
Mover and a seconder, please, to receive all three items of communication. We have a letter from Solicitor General, we have a letter from the Minister of Sport, and we have the communications from Garfield Eaton. Moved by Councillor Vanadrishi, seconded by Councillor Huffman. All in favor? Carried. All right. Deputation 7.1, we have Mr. Gary DeBach regarding agenda item 13.2.5, 711 Schaefer Side Road. You have 5 minutes for your deputation. I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining. And whenever you're ready to begin, you can hit the button on the right-hand side to turn the microphone on.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm not opposed to helping people. Everyone deserves a safe place to live. But this application violates fundamental planning law in 5 ways that cannot be reconciled. Slide 1, please. The Supreme Court in Bell v. Regina, 1979, ruled that zoning must regulate land use, not people. The Ontario Human Rights Commission has confirmed this applies when zoning targets vulnerable populations. The proposed bylaw, not unlike the former bylaw, defines the occupants, refugees, immigrants, and low-income families, not just the use. That's textbook people zoning. And once written in a bylaw, it becomes binding law, not just description. In 2011, the OMB ruled in case PL 100395 that Section 9.44 prohibits look-and-see temporary approvals. In 2022, you did exactly that. Now this is referred to as formalizing a proven program, using temporary success to justify permanent approval. That's what your 2011 ruling prohibits. Slide 2, please. Section 7.2.2L requires limited non-agricultural uses to demonstrate identified need through an official plan amendment, as we can see in the bottom right-hand corner. Staff's own planning considerations document admits, and I quote, "The need is not directly identified within the 25-year time horizon." That's staff admitting the official plan doesn't identify this need, which means Section 7.2.2L applies, which means you need an OPA. You don't have one. And staff claims this is consistent with the intent of the official plan, not consistent with, just the intent. Intent is what you invoke when you can't meet the standard. And legal certainty is now paramount under the Official Plan Adjustments Act 2023. Council must make decisions that conform with the official plan, not merely those that align with its intent. Approving a bylaw on the basis of intent is acting outside your authority. Staff also claims housing policy could supersede other policies at global levels. If that were true, there would be no housing crisis. One could just bypass all planning requirements and build anywhere. Just say housing need and ignore the official plan. That's not orderly development. That's chaos. There's a reason the Planning Act requires process. The gymnastics club on today's agenda required a full official plan amendment for non-conforming use. This application gets simple rezoning with no OPA. Same situation, opposite treatment. That's the bad faith pattern identified in Winton versus North York, 1978. Slide 3, please. The Supreme Court in Westendorp versus the Queen, 1983, said municipalities cannot disguise an unlawful purpose under a lawful tool. Here, a temporary use bylaw lawful for short-term uses, was used to circumvent the OPA requirement for permanent institutional use on agricultural land. 3 years later, you're asked to make it permanent based on temporary success.
1 minute remaining.
That's using Section 39 to bypass Section 22. That's Westendorp. For most Norfolk residents, the approval process has more bricks in the wall than Pink Floyd ever imagined. For others, the process resembles the parting of the Red Sea. That's not neutral planning. It's lost public trust. I respectfully ask council to defer or deny this application.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Are there any questions for the deputation today? Seeing none. Thanks very much. 7.2 is Connor Wilkins, and I believe we have a substitute as Joe. Welcome. 5 minutes. The button on the right-hand side will turn the microphone on, and I'll let you know when you have 1 minute left.
Hello, good afternoon. Madam Mayor, and members of council, my name is Joe Guzzi. I'm a planner with Dillon Consulting, and I'm here today representing Calibrex Developments and their proposed zoning bylaw amendment for its property located at 18 Decoud Road in Simcoe. Excuse me. The proposed rezoning is for Phase 2 of the Butternut Drive subdivision, which fronts onto Decoud Road. The subject site previously received approval for a draft plan of subdivision and rezoning back in 2022. Since then, the residential market has changed drastically, and the street townhome market bottomed out, and the Calibrex had to pivot their product type to something more affordable and sellable. At the same time, the province of Ontario passed Bill 23 in 2022 to increase the number of residential units to make homes more affordable. A new plan before council today reflects a plan that balances these initiatives, a plan which is more reflective of the market and also includes additional dwelling units in each street townhome while achieving local objectives. Next slide. Actually, next slide again. The subject site is located within the settlement area of Simcoe and is designated as urban residential in the official plan. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the urban residential policies of the official plan, and no official plan amendment is required. Next slide. The proposed development has gone through a few iterations. During the previous public meeting held back in July of 2025, Calibrex was proposing 86 street townhome units and 86 ADUs, or additional dwelling units, for a total of 172 units. We have since reduced the number of units to 78 townhomes and 78 additional dwelling units for a total of 156 units, a reduction of 16 units. The proposed development will be a great asset to the county, as it will provide an opportunity for much-needed rental units. Currently, the county has a rental vacancy rate of 0.02%, where 3% vacancy rate is considered to be a healthy market. The proposed development also meets the criteria for affordability, as it provides flexible housing options where less than 30% of household income would be used for these shelter costs. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, we made our first submission to the county in April 2025 and went to council for the public meeting in July. We heard concerns expressed by staff and council at the time and have addressed them in the current proposal that's before you today. With regards to the number of units and the lack of landscaping open space in the front yard, we have reduced the number of units and revised the building layout to increase the percentage of landscaped open space in the front yard. We have also included a parking plan that demonstrates additional 61 parking spaces that can be accommodated throughout Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the development. This is over and above the required number of parking stalls needed for the development. And finally, we have also worked with the Engineering and Planning Department on a pedestrian walkway on Decoud Road that will extend from Butternut Drive west to Norfolk Street as part of this phase of development.
1 minute remaining.
Okay. We are pleased that we have support from the Planning Department for this rezoning application. Staff report outlines 4 provisions that will be that need to be amended for this rezoning. They include minimum lot frontage, minimum rear yard, minimum exterior side yard, minimum front yard landscape open space, and parking within the required front yard. And with respect to minimum lot frontage and minimum exterior side yard, these provisions are approved in the 2002 bylaw, so they're technical in nature. So I just want to summarize by saying we believe that the proposed rezoning should be approved for the following reasons. The proposed development is aligned with the official plan policies. The proposed development provides a variety of housing options and densities for the community and is aligned with the provincial and federal direction to build a wide range of housing quickly. Calibrex is committed to engage with the county to explore and implement strategies for accelerating housing options in Norfolk County.
I have to cut you off there, Joe.
Okay, thank
So
you very
close.
much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the deputation? Councillor Huffman.
Thank you, Mayor Martin, through you. Just wondering, when if all the I's get dotted and the T's get crossed, do you have a start date in mind when you're talking about trying to accelerate the housing options in Norfolk County?
My understanding from talking to the owner is that they would like to commence as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Not seeing any other hands, so thanks for making those amendments and listening, coming out of the public meeting, and for joining us today.
Thank you.
7.3, we have Eldon from Valley Consulting regarding agenda item 13.2.5, 711 Schaefer Side Road.
Thank you for having me today. My deputation is in response to it's a rebuttal to the objection for 711 Schaefer Side Road. Essentially, what I'm here to speak to today is to clarify a few things. So, first of all, there is no official plan amendment required for the proposed use. The objection incorrectly claims that the official plan is needed. In fact, the proposed use does qualify for special needs housing, which is explicitly supported by the official plan. They're subject to tests, so all of the criteria were satisfied, and zoning bylaw amendment is the appropriate tool to permit the use. So again, I reiterate, no official plan amendment is necessary. In terms of the comment regarding the temporary use bylaw that was passed 3 years ago, this was recommended by planning staff and approved by council following a proper public process under the Planning Act. The objections claimed that the bylaw was illegal and unfounded. The use was it was assessed as transitional housing under special needs housing policies, not as an institutional use. So planning staff, they exercised their professional discretion, and the process was transparent and lawful. This is, again, it's not an institutional use. The proposal supports vulnerable individuals, but does not function as an institutional facility. It is an emergency transitional shelter with supportive features, consistent with the definition of special needs housing in the official plan. So the objection relies on a mischaracterization of the use to trigger a policy that simply doesn't apply. So just in closing, the application conforms to the official plan. It responds to an identified need in the county. It uses the correct planning tools to achieve the end result, and it was properly initiated under staff discretion. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Questions for the deputation? Seeing none. Your next item is item 12.2.3 on our agenda, which is 711 Main Street, and I'll pass it over to Councillor Berry for the deputation portion.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's not in my notes. Pardon? Okay, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware that Eldon was also doing that one. Fair enough. My mistake. Please, Eldon, continue with your,
Thank you very
Deputation,
much.
sorry.
Thank you very much. This is very brief. Last council meeting, there's some questions about the form of housing, and that's what I'm here to speak to this evening for 711 Main Street. So the form of housing, it's a 12-unit stacked townhouse. It's low-rise, compact housing that fits within the neighborhood context, meets the height provisions of the surrounding, of the proposed zone and the surrounding use. It represents a form of the missing middle housing, and specifically it is rental. I think that was the main sort of question, is what kind of form of housing is this going to be, and it is rental. And that's, I think that answers the questions from last council meeting.
that's everything?
That's it.
Very good. Any questions for Eldon? Oh, please.
Thanks, Mr. Acting Chair. Yeah, this was my question. Like, is it a townhouse? Is it an apartment? Is it a condo? Because the rules are different for each of those types of development. And again, today you called it a stacked townhouse. So does that mean it's built under the townhouse rules, or is it built as a one block of apartment building with 12 units in it?
So a stacked townhouse, it's like an apartment. It's like an apartment. But so there's a use under the bylaw called stacked townhouses. It's not street facing, it's within a block. So it's one parcel of land. So if this were to go get approved by council, you'll see it'll be essentially 6 units on the main level with 6 units above. So there's 12 total units. I hope that sort of generalizes. So it's not an apartment building, which would be under another zoning category. It is a stacked townhouse.
Let me try to ask that a different way. It's going to be a stacked townhouse, but it will always remain under the ownership of one entity. It's not that you cannot sell individual units out of the one block of buildings, right?
Yes, you're correct.
Very good. Okay. Any other questions? Yep. Go ahead, Councilor.
Just a question from one of the neighbors. I think you can clarify this with respect to parking. Do these units have a garage, at least on part of them, or is it all just on private, like entrance coming in off the main street?
Through the chair, no, there is no garage. It's one driveway access with surface parking.
And do you have any concern with respect to parking out on the side of Main Street, overflow parking?
No, we don't. We went to have a professional traffic study completed as well, and it supports the parking ratio fully.
Thank you.
Okay, yep, Councilor Michelli.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. Through you to the deputation. Eldon, I just am wondering if you got as confused as I kind of did with the list of deputations here. There are there's a theme of either a craps game or a convenience store. They all seem to be 7-Eleven. And so I'm just curious about that. Even our original deputation is 7.1. Anyway, just a comment. I don't know what the odds are against that. I'm pretty sure they're pretty high. Thanks.
Numerology aside, Councilor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you again, Chairman. There were some public comments at the public hearings meeting about drainage on the property and the heat dome effect of paved parking lots and things. Depending on the outcome of council's decision, if it gets that far, would your client be looking at doing things such as permeable paving for the parking lots and green pavement and that type of landscaping that sort of eliminates some of both of those issues?
Through the chair, when it comes to the site plan process, we could look at all suggestions. That's in fact, Valley would like to encourage looking at permeable paving for many, many kinds of developments in Norfolk County. So through site plan, yes, we can consider all forms of that type of development and drainage and so on and so forth, yes.
Back to Councilor Michelli.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Chair. I just that just brings to mind a deputation we had on this property some time ago indicated that there would be a significant need for an archaeological study. Is that still in the plan?
Yes, through the chair, the staff in their recommendation report and bylaw have included a holding provision to ensure that the archaeological assessment is complete.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Could I please get a motion to receive the deputation as information? Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Columbus. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Carried. Back to the mayor.
Thank you very much. We do have one more, and then I'll wrap them all together. Is that what you were going to say? I'm on to you. Okay, 7.5, Paula Jongerden regarding agenda item 15.1, Mayor Martin's motion on Forestry Farm gas wells. Paula, you have 5 minutes. Whenever you're ready, I will let you know when you have 1 moment remaining.
Thank you for the opportunity to exercise my privilege as a concerned citizen to speak about a motion that is to be tabled later today. I want to address item 15.1, Mayor Martin's planned motion concerning the Norfolk County-owned leaking gas well on Forestry Farm Road. Though I realize I circulated to you, the councillors, my emails of yesterday to Mayor Martin, I will review them for our other concerned citizens watching or tracking the proceedings. I will summarize where possible. However, those emails are available as a matter of public record. I have to admit, when I read the planned motion with the amount of legalese in its makeup, I was struck with the worry that if wording was inappropriate or missing, aside from an appeal process, the motion would be all defining and final when it comes to holding our county responsible for its decisions. I didn't want to miss the boat. My first concerns were relatively minor as they concerned single word changes, but nonetheless important. In my first email, good afternoon, Mayor Martin, I am writing to request a change/addition in verbiage to the motion 15.1 that you are planning to present today. The motion reads, whereas Norfolk County continues to work diligently. I would appreciate removal of this phrase in its entirety. Technically, whereas means taking into consideration the fact of something. The opinion or belief that Norfolk County continues to work diligently is merely a subjective opinion. It is not fact. It should be removed. While I appreciate the effort shown with more action since the residents' meeting of October of this very year, I have no confidence whatsoever in previously expressed diligence. In the second paragraph, I asked for actual dates to replace the recentlys and the latest when recognizing the valuable contributions gained by a $486,000 report. Probably most importantly, continuing into the resolution part of the motion, I suggested the addition of words to encourage the unmentioned continued collaboration of the Montrose Environmental Group and of the learned Dr. Richard Jackson of the University of Waterloo. The taxpayer paid for these past reports, and the authors of those very expensive documents can be of positive assistance in the remediation of this problem. So inclusion of that wording to show that collective direction should be in the motion. My email received a brief response within 20 minutes of having been sent reading, I will not change the motion, Amy. Not a thank you for the presentation, not a thank you for your suggestions. I will take them into consideration type of professional, indeed caring reply. No. So later that day, I wrote, and I quote, hello, Mayor Martin, I am sorry you were not interested in making changes to the planned motion regarding the Norfolk County-owned leaking gas well. I must then hope to appeal to our Norfolk County councillors' sense of responsibility to the notion of professional procedure. I know that when motions are made by anyone on council, councillors often work as a team to craft the wording of that motion to best reflect the concerns and needs of the constituents, to be robust and to be complete in scope as possible. I believe inclusion of another important point, actually a recommendation by Montrose Environmental in their PowerPoint presentation of July 25, that mitigation of the Spanger Spring occurs concomitantly at the same time with the mitigation of the flowing Forestry Farm Road well. This needs to be reflected in the motion. We all have busy lives. Maybe it's just me, but I thought perhaps by my suggestions to Mayor Martin by email alone would be met with some semblance of genuine, thoughtful, and supportive consideration as well as respect. The situation has haunted the local residents' lives for the past decade without resolution. So I find myself standing here today ensuring completeness as I, in respect of the process, believe all my suggestions for the motion are valid and intelligent and worth consideration. And after 10 years of working on emails, unpaid meetings, deputations, reassurances, disappointments, the disgusting odor, the advice to avoid parts of my property, let alone the health concerns, I'd say that was worth reciprocal respect from this council. I have hope and I have trust that those around this council table will consider my suggestions thoughtfully before voting on approval of this motion as it presently reads. Thank you.
Questions for the deputation? Seeing none. Mover and a seconder, please. We need to adopt all of the remaining deputations, 7.5, 7.3, 7.2, and 7.1 as information. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Banerjee, Councillor Michele, all in favor? That's carried. I don't know if I'll comment on, is council okay if I reserve my comments when we get to the motion section? Okay, let's carry on with the agenda. All right, that's it for deputations today. Approval of the minutes. A motion to approve the following minutes as presented, please, which is item 9.1 on your agenda, council meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2025. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Banerjee, Councillor Huffman, all in favor? Carried. Reports for committee of the whole. We have two items before us, 10.1 public hearing committee meeting minutes of October 8th and 10.2 council and committee meeting of October 15th. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor Columbus moves, seconded by Councillor Barry. All in favor? Carried. Item 11, reports of advisory committee. Long Point Conservation Authority meeting minutes, September 3rd. Accessibility, May 29th. Recreation and Parks Advisory of May 22nd and July 24th. Heritage Advisory, January 27th, February 24th, and May 26th. OPP Detachment, March 19th, May 21st, and July 19th. Moved by Councillor Columbus, or comment? Go ahead.
Question, Madam Mayor. The May 26th, 11.7, May 26th, Health Heritage Advisory Committee, item 7.5. It talks about a Port Dover property update, but it doesn't say much as to which property that is. I just wonder if we could get a little more information on that.
Yeah, I don't think we have
I
an
sometimes
answer for you.
notice some of these motions don't have very much meat around them, so.
Is that something we can refer back to
Yeah,
staff?
if we can get a memo on it from, your email from staff on that.
Okay, clerks has noted that. All right, anything else, or can I get a mover and a seconder to receive them all as information? Councillor Barry moves, seconded by Councillor Brunton. All in favor? Carried, thanks. Councillor Van Passen, correct me if I'm wrong, we're on to drainage. You're not 12.1s, you're good here,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just going to either stand up and move or just sit quietly or just get out of your way or,
This
hide.
is the one, though. Okay,
Yeah.
great, no problem. Norfolk County Council is in receipt of the McCall Drain Report under Section 84 of the Drainage Act, being a partial abandonment and reassessment report. This meeting is to consider the drain report as prepared by Bill Dietrich from Dietrich Engineering Limited. Staff recommend council adopt the report under bylaw authorizing the project proceed through the Drainage Act appeals. All affected owners and agencies have been sent notice of this meeting in accordance with the Drainage Act requirements. Council may only address the adoption of the report. Being that a reassessment of the drain, there's nothing for council to discuss on that matter. So once the report is adopted under the bylaw, all affected owners will receive notice of the court revision, the appeal body for assessments. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Bill Mays, our drainage superintendent, to introduce the report.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor. So the report in front of you is closure of, is it PW8? Closure of some 4 drainage reports under the Drainage Act. We have 2 reports from Dietrich Engineering under Section 40 of the Drainage Act, which says the report is no longer required and or not cost effective to proceed with the report. McCall. I'm reading the wrong one. I apologize. The McCall drain. Sorry. The McCall drain is an existing drain in down on Forestry Farm Road. There is a few years back, the county hired Dietrich Engineering to come up with a reassessment for the drain to deal with the assessment to the county roads and culverts on the drain. This report is changing the assessment for future maintenance. There's no construction proposed. So it is just modifying how the owners pay in the future for maintenance on the drain.
Okay, thanks so much. Are there any questions from council? All right, staff recommendation is before you. Maybe we can get that up on the screen. It's a little bit lengthy. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Huffman moves, seconded by Councillor Brunton. Any debate or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Is there anyone in attendance that wishes to speak publicly? Sorry, Councillor Van Passen, I jumped the gun. Okay. All right. 12.2 is the McCoy drain. And sorry, is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak? I don't believe we have anyone, but better double check. Okay. PW 25001 is the McCoy drain report for consideration.
Mayor and Councilor, the McCoy drain, PW 25011, that's in front of you, is the partial abandonment of the upstream section of the McCoy municipal drain. It's according to our records, an open ditch drain. When we get out in the field, it doesn't exist as an open ditch drain. Talking with the owners, the best practice would be to abandon the drain under the Drainage Act, and the owner will be responsible for looking after it in the future. Dietrich Engineering was hired to do the abandonment report, but along with this report is reassessing all the owners that are in the watershed to make it fair for everybody in the future, reduce or eliminate the assessment for the section of the drain that doesn't exist anymore. That's the extent of the report.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Mays? Councillor Van Adrishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. So at the end of the day, what we're saying is we abandoned that. How we used to get the bills for cleanup won't happen for this particular drain any further.
Through the mayor to Councillor Van Adrishi. The downstream section of the drain does remain as a municipal drain, so we're still responsible for that. This report just changes what % each owner in the watershed pays for the future.
Oh, okay.
And reduces the length of the drain that we have to maintain.
Reduces the length of the drain. All righty.
Yes.
Oh, I get it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, is the owner in attendance or anyone here that wishes to speak to this drainage matter? And anyone on the line? Staff recommendation on the screen before you. Perfect, thanks clerks. Is there a mover and a seconder? Counselor Columbus and Counselor Vandendriessche. Any debate or discussion? All in favor? Thank you. 12.3 is report PW 25016, Mills South Norwich Drain Branch A.
Madam Mayor and Council, a report in front of you, PW 25016, is the Mills South Norwich Drain Branch A, which is the creation of a new branch drain to service a upcoming subdivision development in Cortland. The engineer, Steve Brickman from Headway Engineering, is attending here virtually. If council or members have any question as to the design or location of the drain.
Councilor Brunton.
Just a note, Madam Mayor, if I may, I see this goes back to 1898. Is that one of the oldest drains you've dealt with? I see.
Through the mayor to council.
You got older?
Yes, I have a couple slightly older drains that we do have to look after, but it is close to one of the oldest we have.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go along to the presentation from Headway Engineering. Are you on the line, Stephen? If so, we can't hear you or see you. We can see you. No audio. I can see you unmuting, it's just not changing anything. Take your time. Try some troubleshooting options there. No luck. Nothing now. Do you want to try to log off and join us again? Okay. Nothing yet, Stephen. Mr. Mays, is there anything in the act if we don't hear the presentation and move forward?
Through Mayor Martin to council. I could attempt to summarize what Steve is going to say, being slightly familiar with the project.
Okay, turn it back over to you. And Stephen, if you think it works, just jump in whenever.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, Steve, through the presentation here. There we go. The Mill South Norwich Drain Branch A is essentially servicing the subdivision development through our development team with Norfolk County. They have worked with SBM Limited to come up with an approved plan for the subdivision for internal storm servicing that all leads to a storm pond. The branch drain is only a pipe that goes from the storm pond to the Mill South Norwich Drain through 2, maybe 3 properties. The outlet has been designed as a sealed pipe with an overland flow for major storms that the storm pond can't handle. The design works were done primarily by SBM Limited for the subdivision. Brickman or Headway Engineering was hired to incorporate their work under the Drainage Act and prepare an assessment and maintenance clause for future maintenance, which they have done in their report. The construction costs in this matter, the developer has provided Norfolk County with a letter that the owners affected by the drainage watershed won't be paying for construction, but future maintenance provisions would apply.
Stephen, are you trying to, is there anything you were hoping to add to that? Maybe we can get you to call in? Nothing, okay. Are there any questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Is the owner in attendance or anyone in the room present want to speak to this? Anyone on the line? Any owners in attendance who wish to remove their names from the petition, or any owners who wish to add their names? Seeing none. Council has two options before us here. I think we'll move forward or report back to the engineer. So there is a recommendation on the screen before council for your consideration. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Berry moves, Councillor Banadrishi seconds. Debate and discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Sorry about that, Stephen, but thanks for joining. 12.4 is staff report PW 25008, and we're back over to Mr. Mays.
Through Mayor and Council, I'll step back to when I first started talking to PW 08, or 2508, which is essentially 4 drain reports under 1 staff report. 2 engineers' reports prepared under Section 40 of the Drainage Act, which says the project's not feasible and not cost effective to proceed, which closes the Drainage Act project and deals with the cost the county has on us to date on them. 2 from K-Smart Associates dealing with similarly a project that started under the Drainage Act that was completed through other county funding instead of going through the owners and assessments. And the Norfolk Oxford drain that we found a alternate solution by connecting into a town of Tillsonburg storm sewer instead of going through the Drainage Act. So this is closing these 4 projects and getting them off the list of to-do.
Councillor Columbus, question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Looking at page 4 of 6 of the report, second paragraph, staff met with the town of Tillsonburg and determined that instead of completing a full Drainage Act report, this informal agreement could be included in the next update to the municipal boundary agreement. Which municipal boundary agreement are we talking about here?
Through the mayor to Councillor Columbus, there's several boundary agreements with surrounding municipalities regarding maintenance provisions for the roads and services within those roads. There is one for the Town Line Road in Tillsonburg there. This existing drain goes up this side of the Town Line Road. The town of Tillsonburg capped it off and now goes into, it was reconnected later into their storm system that was reconstructed 5 years ago.
So these are quite common agreements you're telling us?
The agreements are, and each one Bill Craiglin can attest to, they're all unique in their own ways, but yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Banadrishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. And at the end of the day, there's no changing the boundaries. They are existing. This is what we've been working with in the past, and you're just coming to renew this here, or to eliminate these particular ones.
Through the mayor to Councillor Banadrishi, yes.
Okay.
This agreement is in place. When it is updated, we suggested that they add a provision for the storm or the drain connection into the storm on the town line.
And when we're talking about a boundary, we're talking about where it actually exists, not changing a boundary line or doing an adjustment, it is where it exists. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, staff recommendation is before you, and just a report, not a actual drainage matter that needs to call for members of the public, correct? Correct. Councillor Van Passen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd be happy to move the report. Just want to verify that this is, we're costing us, what, $17,000 to get rid of old paperwork?
Yes, that is the financial recommendation in this report. Is the 2 of the projects are old, quite old. Expenses all adding up to the total in there for the 4 projects.
Moved by Councillor Van Passen. Is there a seconder? Councillor Brunton. Debate and discussion? All in favor? Carried. Staff reports. We have nothing for emergency and social services, so we'll jump into community and development services. 13.2.1 is application ZNPL 2025-149. Report CDS 25036. I think we need to switch over for planning staff.
Yeah, I believe planning staff in the back room, we move much
Sure.
faster, so I will
Okay.
just
Yep,
let
we'll
them know.
pause
Sorry
for
about that.
a minute. She's coming the other way.
My apologies, that went very quick with drainage. Through the mayor, this is an application to amend the zoning bylaw to permit 78 townhouse dwelling units, each with an accessory residential dwelling unit in the basement, for a total of 156 units. The application has been revised since the public meeting in July. At that time, 86 townhouse units and 86 accessory dwelling units were proposed, for a total of 172 units. The overall development has been reduced by a total of 8 primary and 8 accessory units. The rationale for the unit reduction was to address staff and council concerns. The new configuration allows for greater front yard landscaped open space, lesser site-specific reductions to setbacks, and overall reduced density. It is the opinion of planning staff that the amended application meets the intent of the official plan. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thanks very much. Short and sweet. Are there questions of Ms. Cull? Seeing none, staff recommendation is before you, oh, Councillor Van Passen. Moving?
Yeah, we had a public hearing meeting on this. We got a bunch of input. They took it back. I think they've done a good job. I think we're going to be happy we end up with a sidewalk running along Decoux Road there. And I think this is a well-needed form of housing, so I'd be happy to move approval of this one. So.
Excellent, thank you. Is there a seconder for that, Councillor Brunton? Any debate? Go ahead, yep. Sorry, just to clarify, are you seconding?
Yes, yes, and I just want to make a comment. I believe they're finally cleaning up the pond on Decoux Road, which is long overdue. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 13.2.2 is ZNPL 2025-289 regarding Long Point Regional Source Protection Plan update.
Thank you. Through the mayor. The intent of this application is to bring the official plan and zoning bylaw into conformity with the Long Point Region Source Protection Plan. Lehman's Dam was decommissioned and is no longer used for drinking water, so the intake protection zones are required to be removed from the official plan and the zoning bylaw. Planning staff recommend that these applications be approved.
Any questions? Councillor Columbus.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have received some calls about this from neighboring property owners. So basically, this is just no longer a potable water supply, but we're not removing the dam. They were concerned about removal of the dam. There's no structural changes to that.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, there is a staff recommendation on the screen for your consideration. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Columbus, seconded by Councillor Vanendrici. All in favor? Carried. The next item I've declared a conflict on is 13.2.3, which is report CDS 25068. I'll pass it over to Councillor Very to chair this portion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so we have application ZNPL 2025-173 to amend the zoning bylaw to change zoning of 711 Main Street, Port Dover, CDS-25-068. Josh Mueller, planner, will you introduce the report?
Thank you. Through the acting chair and council, this application was, as Councillor Very had said, to change the zoning from R4 or from R1 to R4 to allow for 12 stacked townhouse units. If approved, a hold will be placed on the property for to allow for the completion of an archaeological assessment. This application was heard at a public hearing meeting in July, and public feedback was taken into account in the report, and planning staff is recommending approval of this zoning bylaw amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Any questions from council? Okay. Do I have a mover for the staff recommendation? Oh, This is in public hearing. No. No. Yeah, Counselor, yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This project, it will be going into site plan control if it's approved?
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, yes, that is correct. There are more than 10 units, therefore it requires a site plan. So all of the other things such as parking, orientation, landscaping, all of that can be addressed at the site plan stage with a site plan agreement.
Because I have certain reservations about this, and the staff recommendation is for approval. And we did clarify earlier today that it will be one building with a bunch of rental units in it. You know, and needs relief of parking, and then I thought maybe if we reduced it from 12 units to 10, but as soon as you do that, you lose the site plan control. And I think it's much more important to have site plan control on this. And I think maybe it's time that maybe we could throw a little bit of input into what council would like to see under site plan control. And I mentioned already about the permeable parking and those kind of things. It's awful tight on the, you know, I'd call it the backyard, but the side yard, the way the building's oriented to the next door neighbor. Maybe we could call for some, you know, fencing or mature plantings, like where you use big trees, not little ones, to sort of have some good physical separation from that lot to the neighbor's lot. You know, it is a change to the neighborhood, but if somebody wanted to go in there and build a monster home the exact same size on that lot, all they'd need was a building permit. So, you know, the looks of the building, you know, if they stick with the example design, and I don't think it's going to fit too bad with the neighborhood. But so my question to our staff is, will those sort of ideas be taken into consideration when it comes time to sit down with the applicant for site plan controls?
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, yes, anything can be put into a site plan agreement, whether it's landscaping, parking, building orientation, all of that can be discussed later on in the development.
Yeah, but see, we've delegated that duty to staff, so we don't get any say later on. So if anybody had any other comments, it might be a good time to mention them, right?
Any other questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, do I have a mover for the staff recommendation? Do I have an alternative motion then? Yeah.
This is a planning application, so we have to do something with it. So
Yeah.
I will move for approval and see if I can get a seconder or not, or I guess that's the only, we have to do something with it, right?
That's right. Is there a seconder for the recommendation? Oh, Councilor Van Dries, thank you very much. Okay. Is there any discussion then or debate? Yep, Councilor Broughton.
I'm looking at and to me it's new, but it's regarding the Mississauga of the Credit and Six Nations. Both asked for an archaeological assessment, and they want to review that. Does the applicant do that at his own expense, or does he have to hire those two groups to do it? I guess I'm kind of unclear on that. How does it happen?
Through the chair, yes, the applicant will be bearing the costs of the archaeological assessment.
And then it says in the minutes here, or in the engineering notes, that they get to review those, do they, both groups?
Yes, both of the indigenous groups will review it and determine the next steps from there.
Is there a cost to that?
The cost will be borne by the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Any other debate? Yep, Councilor Huffman.
Thank you, Chair, through you. I just want to reiterate that This is intensification in terms of housing. We do need more housing options in Norfolk County, but I do implore that staff do the best that they can during the site plan review, that we maintain as much parking as possible, setbacks as possible, and we do our best to assist the neighbors who attended the public meeting and have provided public comment.
Thank you. Councillor Columbus?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The developer's consultant has assured us that parking would not be an issue, as the study that they done had indicated. But if, when you've got 12 units, 2 people, 2 vehicles per family, because that's what you need today to make a living, 2 incomes, there's probably more than 1 vehicle per household, per unit. So I would hope that if parking does end up being on the street, that the bylaw department does enforce the 2-hour parking limit. I believe that's what it would be in front of that particular property that we're talking about. Thank you.
Actually, can we clarify that? Is there 2-hour parking there? I didn't think there was. Yeah, no. It's not downtown, exactly.
Well, I would hate to see vehicles parked there for 2 days in a row.
Any staff comment or?
Through the chair, I'm not aware of what how long parking on the road would be for.
Okay. Councillor, did you have?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought in these technical comments that engineering suggested that they'd watch it and they might put up signage, change the parking bylaw for no overnight parking along that stretch to Main Street, but I'd have to go look back in here and find it. But
through the chair, that is correct. Those comments are in there. So what we don't want to have happen is, so street parking is great for guests. We don't want them to be used for the owners of those properties. So we had recommended that if it moves in that direction, we look at parking restrictions on Main Street.
Mr. Chair, I would be satisfied with that. Thanks.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, or I guess not questions, debate, sorry. Any other debate? Okay, then I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? And opposed? And it carries. Thank you. Turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you very much for jumping in there, Councillor Berry. Item 13.2.4 is staff report CDS 25073-105 Donnelly Drive, Simcoe.
Thank you. Through the chair, to mayor and council, this is a application to amend the zoning bylaw and to amend the official plan to allow some sports activities to occur in the warehouse portion of the Annex Business Media Building on Donnelly Drive. The property is currently zoned as industrial. Sorry, it is zoned it is zoned as general industrial, and this would allow a place of sport and entertainment as a permitted use. And it is designated as protected industrial in the official plan, and this would allow for a variety of recreational uses to occur in this newly rezoned warehouse. At the public meeting, it was suggested that we broaden the uses a little bit from just a gymnastics club to include various other uses. That's why I included the sports Center for Sports and Recreation, and it is recommended that the official plan amendment and the zoning bylaw amendment be approved. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh, for bringing this back so quickly as well. Any questions? Councillor Van Passen, moving?
Yeah, again, they took some advice and they found a zoning that didn't narrow this group down to one specific use, and I think it's all going to fit in there, and it doesn't take away any of the other legitimate uses in the industrial zone, so I'd be happy to move the recommendation.
Great. Seconded by Councillor Huffman. Before I jump into debate, one of the other things, Councillor Van Passen had brought it up, and Josh, you have accomplished that with the sport entertainment, but one of the things we talked about was having you guys take a look at that section of the bylaw or the zoning language specifically so that it wasn't so difficult in future use. We talked about a couple other facilities that have needed to do full rezoning, and were you able to come up with anything? Is that something that's on your work plan for later?
Through to you, Mayor Martin. We are planning a project in the very near future to look at kind of a housekeeping amendment to the zoning bylaw, so we can look at it. We're going to look at it at that time.
Okay, great. As long as we didn't drop the ball on it, that's perfect. Thank you. Discussion and debate on this one. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. That's a good one to put a bow on. And sorry, that recommendation was before you on the screen. We have 13.2.5, which is report CDS 25069, 711 Schaefer Side Road.
Thank you through the chair to mayor and council. Yes, this is an amendment or a proposed amendment to amend the property at 711 Schaefer to have transitional housing and for special needs housing to become a permanent use. It has been a temporary use on that property for several years, and the owner wishes just to make this a permanent use on the property, and planning staff is of the opinion that this should be approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions? Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to staff. We earlier heard from a deputation that was claiming that Norfolk County in this instance did not have the authority to make this approval. Could you comment on that, please?
Through the chair, he did reference many legal cases that I don't know of. I'd need to look into it more, but in our opinion, it did conform, and this is something he mentioned as well. We do say it conforms to the intent of the official plan often. And in this case, we did feel it conforms to the intent of the official plan and doesn't require an official plan amendment. So in our opinion, we proceeded correctly.
Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. I think it might almost be the same question I have, but whether what happened 3 years ago with the temporary use bylaw was improper or not improper, it has nothing to do with this application, right? We're not amending anything there. We're asking for something completely new. Yes, I know in the report it comments that they've been using it that way for the last few years, but like we're not amending something that was possibly improperly done. We're asking for something completely new, right?
Through the mayor, that's correct. This is a permanent zoning bylaw amendment rather than a temporary zoning bylaw amendment, so it's a new application.
Any other questions? Staff recommendation is on the screen if someone wishes to propose that or an alternative. I think we have a mover with Councillor Vandendriessche, seconded by Councillor Berry. Discussion. Debate. All in favor? Carried. 13.2.6 on our agenda is staff report CDS 25067, 9 Scott Drive.
Yes, through the chair to mayor and council, this application was submitted to rezone the property at 9 Scott Drive from R1 to R4 to allow for 8 townhouse units. At the public meeting, there was a lot of public feedback on this, and there was a lot of people that were against this. And after taking into account the feedback from the public meeting and various other factors listed in my report, planning staff is recommending refusal of this application. Thank you.
Questions? I guess I'll pose a question to staff. I've never actually heard a staff report explained with a recommendation of refusal based on public consultation comments. I wasn't present at that meeting, but I did watch the meeting back online, and I heard a lot of density and parking concerns. So that's typically not a reason why planning staff make recommendations. Are you able to comment more on what led to the refusal?
Through to you, Mayor Martin. So the public raised concerns that staff also had, basically. So the biggest concern, in our opinion, is the parking in this area. It doesn't lend well to street parking. We'll often make a recommendation to support reduced parking in a case where there is the street parking available, so a visitor could park for a few hours on the street. In this case, it appeared that wouldn't be possible due to the narrower street. And it just is if you compare it, for example, to 711 Main Street, very different streetscape. It just didn't appear compatible to us, but the parking was a main concern.
Okay, Councillor Van Passen?
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. This property, I think there was a lot of concerns about the drainage, about the parking, about the compatibility with the neighborhood, most of which I agree with. And it doesn't seem to be any way to resolve that with the size of the building. Like, it's just too much of the lot is covered with solid material to get the drainage to work. There's not enough basis for parking. My question is, have we gone too far through the process that we could have this project deferred and they can come back with a different application, maybe with, half as many units on it or something to that effect? Or, like the other issue was only the MTO had some concerns because it's close enough to Kings Highway. So can we defer it and send it back and basically have them rewrite the entire application and not have to pay for a new one? Like, can we do that, or is this too far gone and we either accept it or turn it down?
I'll let planning staff chime in because there were some emails back and forth with the applicant.
Through the Mayor to Councillor Van Passen. So the applicant, it's worth noting, did revise it. So when they came in, they had 10 units, now it's 8. I don't know that they're interested in 4 units. I don't believe they're here today, but, oh, you are? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you, but we could, yes, that is an option. You could defer it and suggest that it be amended, and then it's up to them if they do want to come back. But then you're right, they wouldn't have to submit a whole new application, new fee and everything.
I'm thinking like something like a 2 semi-detached on there would look like 2 of the regular houses in the neighborhood, even though it's 4. Something like that might fit that way. So I would move that it be deferred or referred back to staff and bring us back a new report. And if nothing changes, we turn it down later. So
it is atypical to allow you to speak because then members of the public are not given us another opportunity to speak. Correct? Correct. Applicant agent, okay. So there's a motion to refer this back to staff on the floor. First, procedurally, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Vanden Driesch. And I don't think there's any debate or discussion, but a question I would have is this application eligible to be appealed based on the timeline with a referral for non-decision to the OLT?
Through the mayor, yes. If there's no decision made, yes.
Okay, so in support of this motion, it is a possibility that the file could just immediately go to the Ontario Land Tribunal and be out of our hands if the applicant/agent doesn't want to make amendments, just so everyone knows. Councillor Van Passen?
Well, I will be willing to bet if it's not approved, it's going to be appealed immediately, so.
Councillor Breton.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. My question is, some of these people spoke when we first dealt with this application, and if we end up at the Ontario Land Tribunal, are they the only ones that can speak at it, the ones that spoke at our first application?
Correct. You must provide written or public comments to be eligible to participate in an appeal.
Well, I guess, and I certainly can't speak for the applicant. I mean, they can do what they think is best in their interest, but I'd like to, as councillors, can we speak to it at the Ontario Land Tribunal?
I don't believe so, but I don't know. I don't believe we can, but I don't know, so we'll have to circle back and give you a better
That's
answer.
that question. So our planner can speak to it, I assume.
Yes,
Okay.
planning staff and legal staff or whatever justification Norfolk County determines.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is wait and see what the applicant does first, and then go from there. I have some reservations about where we went on a few of these things. I'm not prepared to, if we have refused it, I'm not prepared to use the word run and hide and hope we don't go to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Let's stand up and tell them what we think. Thank you.
Okay, so no debate on this motion, but the options for council are approval, deny, or refer back to staff. The motion on the floor is for a referral back to staff. Everyone understand? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? And opposed? Motion is carried. It will go back to staff. Okay, that wraps up our public meeting. So if you're here for any development files or housing files, we're finished with that section. I'm happy to pause for a minute if you wish to exit. So just for clarity, that was Scott Street, no decision was made. It will go back to staff, and the other staff recommendations were approved. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to take a 5-minute recess just to test the audio for our online folks. So we'll return in 5.
Deputations are a way for you and all residents of Norfolk County to speak before council about relevant matters in our community. To begin, search www.norfolkcounty.ca. Then select the Government tab. Under the Government tab, select Provide Deputation / Speak at a Council or Committee Meeting. This page provides general information regarding deputations. Under the subheading Register to Speak, click the Public Hearing / Deputation Form link to pre-register your deputation. Notice of Collection. By checking the Notice of Collection box, you are agreeing to the above statement. Selecting the type of meeting you want. There are several types of meetings that allow deputations. Please listen closely as we explain each option. Council meeting. Council deputations must pertain to a matter listed on the upcoming meeting agenda. For the remaining meeting choices, you may present a deputation if the topic pertains to the committee you are presenting to. Once you select the type of meeting you want to deliver your deputation, you can complete the rest of the document. Now choose whether you will attend the meeting in person or virtually. Finally, select if you will be providing materials during your deputation. If you have materials for distribution during the council meeting, please bring 15 hard copies for council and staff. Now click Next to move to Step 2. In Step 2, please fill out your personal information. Once your personal information is completed, click Next. Lastly, review your information and select Next to submit your form. You have now completed the deputation request form. You will receive a confirmation email from the Clerk's Department that they've received your request. Next, we will talk about what to do on the day of your deputation.
So, you've received your approval and the day of your deputation is upon you. For starters, council is located here, at 50 Colburn Street. Now there's two entrances you can use when you arrive. One is here, located off Colburn, and one located off Talbot Street. When you arrive, you'll have three main options to park. The first is to park at the Simcoe Town Center Mall, which is where Food Basics is located. Your second option is 2-hour street parking on Court Street. And your third option is 2-hour street parking on Lodge Street. If you can't find any parking in any of those three options, don't worry. Downtown Simcoe has plenty of street parking in all of the surrounding areas. If you enter through the Colburn Street doors, you'll have to make your way through the building to get to council chambers. But don't worry, if you require any assistance, you can feel free to ask Service Norfolk at the front desk. Make your way along this path and you'll end up in the main lobby. To your left, there'll be an elevator. You can either ring the bell or go ask the people at the front desk for assistance. If you don't need to use the elevator, you can head on up the green staircase and go up to council chambers. If you enter through the Talbot Street doors, the elevator will be immediately in front of you, or the green staircase will be ready for you to go up and deliver your presentation. Once you reach the top of the stairs, you'll have made it to council chambers. Feel free to take a seat here or here and wait for council to call your name when it's time to present. When council calls your name, make your way to the podium and ensure that you don't walk between the railing and the chairs on your way there. When you arrive at the podium, adjust it to your desired height using the arrow buttons and turn the microphone on using the button on the right. If you're giving your deputation in front of council, begin by saying, "Through the mayor." If you're giving it in front of a committee, begin by saying, "Through the chair." Then, clearly state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to give your presentation. Upon having 1 minute remaining, the chair will give you notice. When you're finished your presentation, council may have questions for you. Ensure that you always begin your answer by saying, "Through the mayor," or "Through the chair" to councilor, and their last name. If you can't answer the question, that's okay. Inform council that you'll gather more information and get back to them. After that, council will have heard out what you've had to say, and they'll take appropriate action as they deem necessary. And now, you've finished your deputation. You can either have a seat and watch the rest of the meeting, or you can leave through the door that you came in and ensure that you leave as quietly as possible.
Hey Norfolk County, my name is Anna and I'm here to share some water safety tips to keep you and your family safe around the water. Knowing how to swim is a life skill and an essential part of staying safe and having fun. Swimming lessons are the best way to learn essential swim survival skills to recover from a fall into deep water. Think you're too old for lessons? There are programs designed for teens and adults as well. With so many lakes and rivers, Canadians of all ages are avid boaters. Always wear a life jacket, it could save your life. Never swim alone, regardless of age and skill level. Always swim with a buddy. A buddy can throw you a buoyant aid if you get into trouble. When possible, wade into unknown waters to prevent injury. Backyard pools are a great place to make family memories. But remember, if you are not within arm's reach of your child in and around the water, then you've gone too far. Drowning can occur in as little as 10 seconds and it is silent. Every drowning death is preventable. Take time to educate yourself and those around you to ensure you're staying safe and having fun around the water. For more information, visit norfolkcounty.ca/watersafety.
Okay, we are back. Marissa and David, can you hear us on the line okay?
Yes.
Perfect, and we can hear you. Okay, we have one staff report before we come to you, Mr. Bogosian. I believe we have one, maybe. 13.3.1 is our additional information for non-eligible recycling collection, PW 25022. Over to Ms. Bakla.
So through the chair, actually, we're going to have Ms. Davis introduce the report. So Ms. Bockley is our waste expert, but one of the challenges when you have a waste expert is she sits on various boards and committees, so she's away today. So Ms. Davis will start it off, and Marissa's around for some questions and answers if there are any.
So thank you, Andrew. Mayor and Council, good afternoon, everyone. Before you is an information memo and follow-up to the Council and Committee meeting held on October 15th, where staff presented report PW 25-017, which was an update on non-eligible recycling collection. With the transition of the Blue Box program to a producer-led model, recycling collection services will be limited to residential sources as of 2026. At the meeting, Council requested additional information from staff, including that staff provide cost estimates for the potential scenario in which recyclable materials from non-eligible sources are disposed of in the garbage stream. The estimates are provided in the report and include costs associated with the collection, transfer, haulage, and landfill disposal. The report also speaks to staff's ability to track the tonnage of recyclables entering the waste stream, the estimated annual cost to provide recycling services for approximately 70 county facilities, as well as the estimated cost to continue the collection and processing of non-eligible curbside recycling. And with that, we are happy to take any questions.
Questions? Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. I did ask this question of Marissa, sorry, a week or so ago, and we have, I think she said 1,100 or 1,000 ICI customers, if I could use that word. And I'm wondering, like we concentrated on our BIA, myself and Councillor Very, I guess, a couple of weeks ago at our last meeting, but it affects the whole county ICI, not just the local BIAs. So I think there was some maybe misunderstanding by some of the people that I have spoken to that called me and asked me about what's going to happen. And and I did, I guess, get some ideas from Marissa what we can discuss at our next BIA meeting, but we do not have any say other than what notices our staff will put out for the general group of ICI customers in Norfolk. I guess, can you clarify for me or somebody about where that will take place or when, and how the those potential customers will find out? I guess that's what I need to know.
Through the chair to Councillor Brunton. So in the initial report, we had discussed about sending out letters to all of the impacted IC&I. So there was 1,008 properties that would be impacted by this. So as soon as we have a decision and a direction from council, we can work with communications on getting that information out. Communications also has some other ideas, such as issuing a media release as well to kind of communicate some of those changes that could potentially be coming as well.
And just on that, Marissa, if I may, the green bin, when it starts, so everybody will be collected. Am I correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Brunton, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Columbus?
Yes, Melissa, with respect to the BIAs, there's obviously commercial garbage or commercial green waste or waste that we are not going to collect, the plastics and the recyclables. And then there's also that from residential, which could be upstairs above the BIA businesses. How are we going to differentiate between those two pickup requirements?
So through the chair to Councillor Columbus, if we're only collecting from the IC&I source from Norfolk County's perspective, actually being away at a waste conference this week, speaking to some colleagues that are doing the collection, they've made customized stickers that are placed on the IC&I bins so that it's easily identifiable for the contractor which bins that they're collecting as part of the contract for the IC&I sector, and then residential are continuing to use their regular recycling bins. However, if we don't move forward with collecting the IC&I material, I guess it would be on the collection contractor to determine which are from the residential sector. The producer responsibility organizations have indicated that it should be easily identifiable which material is coming from a residential source, mainly from like a cardboard perspective, is one of identifiable features that usually the IC&I sector is putting out larger amounts of cardboard than what would generally be generated from a residential source.
Thank you for that.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks very much. Staff recommendation that report 25017 update on non-eligible source recycling collection be received as information, and that staff proceed with council's direction regarding non-eligible source recycling. Moved by Councillor Michelli. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Van Passen.
What is council's direction if that's the motion? Like on January 1st, we have to pick up our own garbage if not, or recycling if nothing else. So.
It was to not proceed, right? That's the direction that we set 2 staff reports ago.
Okay, but what are we going to do on January 1st? Do we have to buy a truck to pick up our own recycling and do something with it, or what are we going to do? We got 70 places and estimated cost of $162,000 just to pick it up from our own facilities.
I thought we left some direction to staff at, I don't know what meeting, it was the last meeting we discussed this. You had mentioned look into a partnership with BIA or other options, so I don't know what our internal county municipal operating plan is yet. I don't know if staff knows that either, but we closed down the screen. Marissa?
Yep, through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, we have a private contract for managing waste from Norfolk County facilities. Right now, that contract just includes garbage because Norfolk County facilities are participating in the curbside program. However, we did give you cost estimates that we could add that to our current contract for a short period of time. And then that contract actually expires in, I believe, April of 2026. And when it goes out to be re-tendered through the procurement process, they will add in recycling for Norfolk County buildings as well. If we are no longer providing curbs or picking up curbside material for the IC&I sector. So there is a plan in place to continue for Norfolk County buildings to continue recycling. And I also think that it's important that we model continuing that diversion piece. If we do not collect from the IC&I sector, I think it's important for Norfolk County to be a leader in this case, to have a private contract to continue that diversion from landfill.
Okay, does that mean you already have the direction to do that, or do you need that today? That's what I'm asking. Like, can you have authority to amend the contract to have them start picking up the recycling from the county-owned facilities on January 1st, 2026? Is that already in place?
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, I don't believe so. That was just one of the options for us to consider. Ultimately, we would have to open up that existing contract to add that to bridge that gap from January to April.
So we should give staff the approval to do that if that's what we want to do, and add that to this motion.
Or add a second. Okay, I'll come back to you for that. Councillor Very, then Huffman.
Thanks, Mayor. I guess I just wanted to have a clarifying question for Marissa, just so I'm following here. So, okay, so what staff report's saying is it's going to be a cost of $405,000 for a county to continue the service as it is today. But the county's own cost is going to be $168,800. So really we're talking about a difference of $241,000-ish, correct?
Through the chair to Councillor Very, yes, that is correct.
Okay, so then in that chart that was in the previous report, you have the percentage of non-eligible garbage entering the stream. So I realize you've got 175, 50, 25%, the breakdown. Obviously it's not going to be 100. It might be 75, it might be 50, but let's call it 50 just for the sake of argument. So that's another 36,000 off. So really, I mean, to me, it sounds like what we're really talking about here is $205,000, give or take, to continue the pickup as it is today. Is that correct? I just want to make sure we're talking about the right number. It's about 200,000, 205,000.
Through the chair to Councillor Very, I apologize. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I was having issue trying to pull up the report due to limited internet, so I apologize at the moment.
Okay, so
I'm not sure if someone else might be able to speak to the numbers.
No, okay, so here's what I'll do, and then you can tell me if this rings a bell. So in table 2 of a previous report, you've got percentage of non-eligible recycling and garbage stream, you've got estimated costs. So for 100%, it's 73,000, 75% is 55,000, 50% is 36.5, and 25% is 18.5. So what I'm saying is if 50% of that garbage just ends up in, the recycling ends up in the garbage stream, because 50% is reasonable to assume people are just going to throw it in the trash rather than have to pay for recycling. That's what I'm basing my assumption on. So if we take that 36 off of the 241 that we're talking about, we're down to about 205,000 that would take to just continue the service as it is. Does those numbers sound right to you, based on the chart that I read to you?
Through the chair to Councillor Very. Go ahead.
I was going to say, someone else want to jump in and help Marissa here? She doesn't have the report.
Through the chair, yes. Following your math there, that does make sense to me.
Okay.
I would agree. You're probably in that 50 to 70% ratio, so it's not an exact number. It's going to be somewhere in that $200,000.
So I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is if we're talking about, if we're going to talk about leaving it as it is, we're really talking about $200,000, give or take.
Correct.
And then so my question then becomes, is it worth it to Norfolk County to continue this service when we're talking about a difference of $200,000? That's where I'm kind of going with this. So I would support that. So I guess I'm not going to support the recommendation because I think $200,000 is pretty reasonable to continue all the service that we're currently offering to taxpayers. That's where I'm at.
Councillor Huffman, Van Andriesch, then Brunton.
Councillor Very took my question.
Councillor Van Andriesch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, my Lord. It's catching up. I just need clarification here. So what we're saying, of those 1,000 and some odd that we work with now, of those clients or users, you're saying for the 200,000, we would pick up we would do our own as well as them?
No, what I'm saying is, sorry, the way I've gone at this is saying like, look, basically if it's 405 that we're going to save by stopping this service.
To the 1,000 and some.
Right, but what I'm saying is the county would then have to pay, right?
For our own,
Right.
correct?
So if you take our cost off of our Norfolk County's cost off of the 405, that leaves you 241. And then there's a chart here that shows an estimate of how much recycling people just throw in their garbage because they don't want to pay for their own pickup in commercial and industrial and institutional settings. And so I'm taking the middle estimate, which is 36.5. Andrew's saying, yeah, it'll be somewhere between 50 and 75%. So I'm just rounding it. And so basically, because Norfolk County would have to pay its own disposal, plus we are going to have some garbage or recycling that ends up in the garbage that we're paying to dispose of, the real difference here, the real savings that we're talking about is 200,000. And Andrew's saying ballpark, good enough.
But truly, is it? Because at the end of the day, they'll put out all the recycling, not just what would be an occurrence of, what would I say, by accident, I would put in 50%. They're going to put it all out if you're going to pick it up.
Just jump in here because now we're debating amongst ourselves.
Sorry.
I see the direction we're going, but we don't have concrete facts being confirmed, and we don't know what a new contract is truly going to cost us. So can we have something come back to us? Because otherwise we're making.
So if I can jump back in, so I asked about that when I was in the chair, and basically we can't have an actual quote because then we're sort of tendering it without a tender, essentially, was what it came down to. So Marissa's provided this estimate of what it could cost. And so what I'm trying to do is work backwards and saying, okay, well, if this is the estimate that staff is giving us, and the estimate that staff is giving us of what the county's cost will be, and then the estimate is staff is giving us of the garbage or the recycling that ends up in the garbage stream anyways, we're not really talking about a savings of 405, we're talking about a savings of 200, and that's where I'm trying to get to here. And Andrew's sort of nodding and saying, yeah, that's close-ish. That's all I wanted to establish, is that what we're really talking about is 200,000.
Councillor Breton?
And what Councillor Berry's getting at, and maybe that is a figure to collect it. I don't know. Marissa said she didn't have it right in front of her. But the ICI part of the blue box, the manufacturers, if I can use that word, they don't want to collect that anymore, correct? So if we collect it, what does our collector do with it? There's going to be a cost to get rid of it.
Okay, we're debating and we're going in circles here, so I need some direction from staff, please.
So through the chair, I think we would recommend that we proceed with our original recommendation. I would agree with Marissa, we certainly do want to be seen as industry leaders in this field, so collecting recyclables from county facilities, I think we would like direction to proceed with that. And then we're at your hands whether or not you would like to spend the extra $200,000 to include the remaining properties. I don't think that's a decision for us, that's a decision for council.
Okay, let's break this down into three then. The first being collecting from the municipal properties. Is there consensus on that? And then is there consensus on Councillor Berry's direction of the less 200? Yeah, go ahead.
We discussed this last week, and I do agree with one contractor picking it all up, but can I ask Marissa, if the contractor picked up everything like he's doing now, the ICI part, what's he do with it? Even if we pay him...
Through the chair to Councillor Brunton. So the quote of $450,000 included the processing fee. So there are a couple processors, I believe one's in Burlington, another one in Brantford, that have the ability to process IC&I material, because under the new regulation, that material has to be kept separate from the residential material.
So that's another problem then, if it was on our right. I think...
All right, so there's maybe not consensus on the second part. So I'm looking for someone to move some direction that we continue with our municipal pickup. Counselor Van Adrishi, and Counselor Columbus. Discussion, debate, all in favor? Carried. Counselor Berry, do you want to put some direction on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, it's, okay, so my preference would be to continue the service as it is, based on the numbers that staff have given. However, I recognize that there is no way of knowing for sure what it costs. So I don't know how to deal with that if we can't go get a better estimate. So what I'm wondering is, are we able to set a budget up to X? And if it's more than that, once we tender it, we don't do it? Or, because what I don't want to have here, we're moving on an assumption of 200 and it ends up being 500. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But if it's 200, I feel like, again, this is going to benefit a lot of businesses that do pay higher taxes and that are good community partners, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it's going to solve a lot of logistical problems as far as having staff having to go out and clean up, or do small businesses just dump their garbage into our county cans on their street front anyway. Like, this is what I'm trying. So for 200,000, yeah, I'm willing to do that. For 500, I'm maybe not so sure. So I don't know what I'm able to do here. Am I allowed to put a motion that says up to a certain amount of money? Is that legitimate here, Bill, or can I do that?
So through the chair, it is not uncommon for us to see a direction from council for an upset limit to say, you know, up to, say, $300,000 for the component of the stream that you're talking about. We could go out, we could tender that, because as you mentioned, these are just estimates. They are not formal RFIs. These are sideline conversations with vendors and collectors that we know. And then we could tender it and award if within that threshold, and if not, we could not award. That does become a challenge from a procurement perspective, because you don't want to be tendering work and not awarding it, but we do have clauses within our contracts that allow us not to award if it is not within budget.
So should we come up with a number in close then, so we're not just saying pick a number here and then that's, hey, wouldn't you know it, that's the cost that it is. Holy, you know?
Through the chair, I certainly would recommend that that number not be disclosed publicly, but I'll let Ms. Van Dyke speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, I might suggest that council has received direction from, or staff have received direction from council to go back and look at our current waste contract and regarding the continuation of recycling. Once we have done that, I would suggest that staff could come back with a report. I believe that this would likely be a closed session discussion, and then council would have more information that you could then use to give further direction about a bigger go-forward plan, should you wish.
Okay, so then I guess my follow-up to that is, and I don't know how to ask this, and how is that different than what I asked about last time, that we weren't allowed to go out and get a quote? Like, I don't understand the difference now. What is the difference?
So, Madam Mayor, through you to council, what I am suggesting is that we not talk about amounts or upset limits today in open session, that council gives staff the opportunity to go back and review the current contract that we have and start to flush out more what those costs might look like, and we could bring that back as soon as we possibly can in a closed session report, so that you could, because this would be considered negotiations, I would suggest.
Okay, then I'll put that motion out, however it has to read to do that.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Councillor Huffman. Councillor Van Passen?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. See, I still don't seem to grasp this entire system, but you know, how do we even know, like, we want to hire a contractor to pick up the non-eligible recyclables. But we don't have a map of where they are all located. So how do you put out a tender to say, just go to Norfolk County and just follow the recycle truck and pick up everything they didn't get? Or do you have to get a map to say, look, there's a church in Cortland on this back road, you have to go there, and then from there you got to stop at our community center, and then you got to go here? But how do we even put all the businesses and institutions that are not eligible to be picked up? How can we, you know, put out a tender when we don't even know where all those locations are to provide it to them?
Good point. I'm going to let Marissa chime in. I'm just going to temper this discussion. So we have Mr. Bogosian waiting.
Okay.
That we're probably paying for on our next report on the line. So Marissa, do you have a concise answer for Councillor Van Passen?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, we currently have a list of those 1,008 IC&I businesses with addresses. So it would ultimately be up to the contractor to figure out routing to service those businesses for what makes sense.
All right, any more debate or discussion on Councillor Very's motion? I will jump in for debate. I'm not going to support this. I'm going to stick with my original position from earlier this month. It's a provincial cut. It's easier for us to claw back the service instead of maintain some partial level of service and then try to take it away later. Additionally, we can monitor not only the waste in the communities and the calls we're receiving, but the waste that's actually going into the scales up above and beyond what we've normally been receiving. And we could be way off the mark. That could be a cost of $90,000 to the taxpayer, but we set an upset limit of double or triple that, and we're overspending because we didn't wait to see how this impacts the community. So for me, it's a provincial cut. It's one of the services that we can save the taxpayer some additional dollars on and see if the private sector will fill the gap themselves. And if not, then pivot and make a plan in 6 months to a year. With that, I will call the question. All in favor? And opposed? The motion is defeated. So unless I hear something from someone else, I think that means status quo, our previous direction remains. And the last thing we have to do is the third part. I already forget what it was, the direction to staff on the municipal pickups contract. Do you want to wordsmith that, Councillor Van Passen?
Yeah, I think we need a motion to direct staff to make arrangements for our own pickup on January 1st. So whatever, that's amendment to a contract or whatever, but they have to have something in place, so.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Columbus, any discussion or debate? All in favor? Carried. Wonderful. We are on 13.4.1 on our agenda, which is report CS 25-141, update and results of Integrity Commissioner complaint. Over to our CAO.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Before I get started, just want to let Council know that the Integrity Commissioner is on the line and is prepared to answer any questions that you may have after I provide a bit of a brief overview. My intent today is not to get into the mechanics or the details of the report that is attached for your review and been covered quite extensively in the media. What I wanted to do is just very briefly go over the process that was followed. I've noticed on social media there's been some discussion about it, and I've been stopped in my evening walks and been asked some questions. So I think it's important that we go through the process, how we got to where we did, and to confirm for the public and for council that everything that was done followed appropriate process. Or we will hire a third party to investigate the situation and see if there's any merit to the complaint or the breach. In this particular case, because of the complexity of the alleged breach and the allegation that it was a Norfolk County staffer that was responsible for the security breach, a third-party investigator was hired, which is quite common. And to be honest with you, our process is that if a staff member is found to have breached a code of conduct, not followed policies, done something that is untoward, the consequences are quite severe, up to and including termination. And that's something that we take very seriously. That's something that's written into everyone's employment contract, that part of the employment contract that a staff member makes with the county is that they agree to follow the various policies and codes of conduct and whatnot. And I don't think this council or any member of the public would demand anything less than that. It is a contract that you have, and the expectation is that if you're collecting a paycheck from Norfolk County, then you're acting always respectfully and with the highest of conduct, professionalism. When we talk about an elected official, the process is similar but a little bit different. For an elected official, if there is a suspicion or an accusation of wrongdoing, instead of HR taking the lead or instead of a third party being hired, there's an integrity commissioner that is employed, and that integrity commissioner then is tasked with the responsibility of investigating and coming to conclusions on what actually happened. Once again, that integrity commissioner is a third party, independent, and that's the way you would want it. You don't want someone who's involved necessarily in the day-to-day operations or the day-to-day politics of what's happening. And I don't think that's any different than what the public would demand. I think the public would expect that by virtue of being an elected official, that you would adhere to the code of conduct, that you'd adhere to the various legislation and the professionalism and respectfulness that's required. And so the thought, and I've heard some of this, and I've actually been stopped as I walk around the town, people saying that there's an expectation that as an elected official you'd have some immunity or some sort of 4-year sort of immunity, and you can act as you'd like, and in 4 years you'd have an opportunity, the public would have an opportunity to pass judgment as to whether that individual acted appropriately during those 4 years. So just to be very clear, the process was followed as it is designed to be followed. We've had 2 separate investigations, and we had 2 separate investigations because the first one was believed that it was a staff member, which follows a different process. And then following that, there was a second process because it was an elected official that was led to the thoughts that there was some inappropriate action. And so just to assure the public that the process was followed as it was intended to. And so I'm going to leave it at that, Madam Mayor. And so if there's any questions in terms of the process, I'm happy to answer the questions. And as I said, the Integrity Commissioner is here as well if you have any questions in regards to his report and his investigation.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bogosian? Not seeing any. Mr. Bogosian, any comments you want to provide us with? We don't need you to debrief on the report, certainly, but I'm happy to give you an opportunity to speak and close out this unnecessarily long file. Sorry, we cannot hear you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to add beyond what's in the report. It's unfortunate that it's been misinterpreted by some, perhaps not read at all by others. I'm quite confident that there was more than ample evidence to make the findings that were made, and I stand by the conclusions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I do have one question for the Integrity Commissioner there. One of the issues that really gets me about the Integrity Commissioner and the investigations and everything is that municipalities have no mechanism to recover costs when these things are started by, let's say, people in the community that have an agenda. So we've had some in Norfolk County where people have made complaints that are completely frivolous or dismissed easily, and we can't recover the costs of those complaints. And we've got now thousands and thousands of dollars that have been spent on this one that was just started by one person's lie. And so I'm wondering, just your thoughts on that. Do you have any thoughts on maybe mechanisms down the road, or how would we go about lobbying for that ability, or do you have any thoughts on that at all? I realize I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but it does trouble me that municipalities can end up spending thousands of dollars on this because residents decide to put us in this position.
Thanks, Councillor Very. I don't think that you can write into the code something that there's cost recovery in the event that a complaint is found to be unmeritorious or even frivolous or vexatious. I try to police the complaints in the sense that, for example, for another municipality that I do, where there is one individual in particular who is constantly filing complaints, I have warned them that any further, there is a mandatory anonymity granted under that code of conduct, but I indicated that if there's any other further complaints filed that are regarded as frivolous, I will not be respecting their anonymity. Because I do think the public and members of council have a right to know if there are members of the public that are abusing the process. You know, it's a fine balance. You don't want to discourage citizens from coming forward that may have information of serious ethical issues with respect to a member of council or a member of a local board for that matter. But I do appreciate that these investigations can be costly and drain on the municipal budget. I do want to add that Norfolk County did not pay a dime of the fees that I charged for the Bentley investigation. That was entirely footed by Haldeman County.
And if I can follow up there, Mayor. No, I understand in this particular case that Norfolk County didn't pay anything. I get that, but I do have some, you know, empathy or whatever for Haldeman taxpayers as well. And Norfolk County has in the past been in the position where we have paid. That's all I was kind of getting at. So I guess my request, if I could make one to you, is if ever you're asked, if you ever have to do a review with the province or anything, and they ever ask you for opinions, if you could just throw it in there that we would love a mechanism to recover costs on frivolous and vexatious complaints, I'd really appreciate that, because it's a drain. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions? Al?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Just to wrap this up, I thought I would just conclude my comments with one additional comment, that just to clarify, and I think it's important that we clarify because there has been quite a bit of speculation and accusations made in the public. To be very clear, and I can't make this any more clear than what I'm going to say, is there was zero political involvement in this. There was zero political direction. When the initial breach happened, it was something that was done between the two CAOs and council. All of you, the mayor and the 8 councilors, found out about it at the exact same time after the investigation had been contracted and launched. And so just to dispel that myth that's out there that somehow this was politically driven or that there was some of you on council that were driving this and the motivating factor behind this, I can tell you with 100% confidence that there was zero involvement on a political side, and that this started in pursuit of the truth and specifically to clear Norfolk County staff of any wrongdoing, and that's what drove the initial investigation. So I thought it just important that I let everyone know that.
Okay, thanks. I'll just provide my 2 cents and then we can move on to more important issues. Yeah, it's unfortunate we continue to find ourselves discussing this matter, but I think what troubles me most is the unfounded insinuations and the doubling down on false claims that our staff played a role in it, and now we know, unequivocally that is simply not true. I'm also deeply disturbed by the rhetoric emerging in the community suggesting there's no need for an integrity commissioner. The rules exist for a reason, and no one should be able to bend them to suit their needs depending on who the complainant files against. But without belaboring this, I'm actually just going to repeat my comments that I said the first time this came forward. I want to once again thank our CAO, as well as former Haldeman County CAO Kathy Case, for their professionalism, integrity, and commitment to seeing this process through independently from council. And I believe my exact words were, in an era of strong mayor powers, it wouldn't have been easy to follow through on, but they did because of their loyalty and commitment to our respective communities, and Norfolk and Haldeman are better for it. So with that, I'd like to put this to rest and move forward to more pressing issues. We will just be receiving the report as information. Councillor Van Passen moves, seconded by Councillor Van Andrieschie. Discussion, debate, all in favor. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bogosian, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Nothing under Office of the CAO, so we'll move along to bylaws. The first one that Councillor Van Passen has declared a conflict on is bylaw 2025-75, being a bylaw to provide, a motion for bylaw 2025-75, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the Corporation of Norfolk County for the McCall Drain. It's receiving its first and second reading today. Moved by Councillor Van Andriesch, seconded by Councillor Huffman. All in favor? That's carried. And then we have 14.2 and 14.3. They'll both be read separately as it's their first and second readings. So a motion for bylaw. Go ahead, sorry, Councillor Van Passen.
14.13 should be pulled out of there because isn't that Scott Street in Port Dover that we didn't approve?
Not there yet, but yes. Right now, we're just doing the municipal drains. So this is just 14.2 and 14.3. Am I missing something? Those are, yeah, first and second reading only, then we'll go into the other ones, and we'll pull that out. So a motion, please, mover and a seconder, please, for a motion for bylaw 2025-76, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the Corporation of Norfolk County for the Mills South Norwich Drain is receiving its first and second reading today. Moved by Councillor Michele, Councillor Brunton. All in favor? Carried. A motion, please, a mover and a seconder, please, for a motion for bylaw 2025-77, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works in the Corporation of Norfolk County for the McCoy Drain, which is receiving its first and second reading today. Councillor Columbus moves, seconded by Councillor Van Andriesch. All in favor? Carried. And now we will catch Councillor Van Passen's. Is it 14.9? $14.13, thank you. Okay. Mover and a seconder, please, that bylaws 2025, I'm not going to do 2025-72 to 2025-74, bylaw 2025-78 to bylaw 2025-83, and bylaw 2025-85 to bylaw 2025-87 be read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Van Andriesch, Councillor Brunton, all in favor? Carried. And we have removed 14.13, which is the bylaw for Port Dover. Thanks, Councillor Van Passen. Okay, we are on motions. Councillor Berry, may I pass the chair back to you one final time today?
Yeah.
Thank you. And with your permission, the motion is before, no, it's not. Could we get that up on the screen so I don't have to read it, please? Motion was before you last week and again this week for your consideration. This motion is directly related to a request that came from a residential landowner and community member at the most recent provincial meeting on the Forestry Farm Road gas well that we hosted here at Norfolk County. And the deputation you heard today referenced quite a few things. So if you'll indulge me, I will speak on those things. And it is my intent to leave the motion worded exactly as it is today with no amendments whatsoever. In fact, I won't be supporting any amendments. And here's why. The first comment I heard was that the motion was filled with legalese language. This is a motion that's a rendition exactly what Austin Shears had asked provincial staff in a public meeting. We had, by the way, who emailed me to thank me for the motion when he saw it. So despite the comments you heard today, the suggestion came from Austin Shears, who is a landowner and a community advocate for working on this project. The second thing you heard was that my 20-minute response time in an email was insufficient. I thought it was pretty good. I get countless emails a day. Respect and communication. It's a two-way street, and the member that came before us has continuously disrespected Norfolk County Council, but more importantly, our staff. And our professional staff are dedicated, committed and focused countless time and hours on this gas well project specifically, because despite what she may believe, Norfolk County also wants to seek resolution on this matter. The fourth item, the motion, actually I drafted myself without any legal consultation. And it was done, as I said, coming from Austin Shears to support transparency, to inform the public of information sharing with not only the Forestry Farm Road residents, but also any member of Norfolk County and surrounding area, including our municipal partners like those in Chatham-Kent who are working with a similar issue on what we've been up to and how we're executing on our progress. And more importantly, it also loops in our now standalone entity of Grand Erie Public Health, regularly up to date with what we have going on. The request to remove the word diligent is completely subjective, and I will not be nickel and diming the language in the motion with members of the public because they don't believe our staff spend enough time on this issue. Quite frankly, that's disrespectful and insulting, and it stands. The suggestion to add Dr. Jackson and Montrose, they were already told in the provincial meeting, which Paula was present for, that the province would not be doing that. This motion is not created so that I can politically grandstand. This motion is to move the issue forward, and it's already been run by the province of Ontario, who has agreed to fulfill this request. We have no authority to tell the province how to do their job. Without their approval, this motion would be political grandstanding. And they told the members that day at our meeting that Dr. Jackson and Montrose would, at this point in time, not be included in the process. They needed to get their feet under them. And then lastly, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the public and council, while the issue certainly has been ongoing, this council has arranged in-person provincial meetings with residents, received not one, but 2 funding announcements from the province. We have the addition of a scrubber placed on site to help with odor. We have the purchase of training and materials for around-the-clock monitoring on site. We have coordinated with the new medical officer of health of Grand Erie Public Health, including sitting him before the province on this issue. And we have worked to get the province to host interdepartmental meetings with the Ministry of Environment and MNRF, which is no easy feat. And while the community members may think that this project isn't moving fast enough, all of that was done by this term of council in 1 term of council. So it might be a decade-long issue, but in the last 4 years, our staff and this council have really progressed on this file, and I'm proud of the work we've done. And I would like to close by thanking Bill and Al, as well as our first responder team and our Grand Erie Public Health team for all of the work and the countless hours you put in on this file. Thank you.
Okay. The motion is there. Can I have a seconder? Linda would love to, or Councilor Van would love to second it. Okay. So, and is there any more debate or discussion on that before we call the vote? Seeing none, then I will call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Pass the chair back to the mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Berry. No notices of motion. Other business? General announcements. Go Jays go. Everybody can get some rest this afternoon. Yeah, anything from staff, general announcements? Okay. We have 2 late closed session items today before we finish up our meeting. 19.1 is Norfolk County Committee appointments pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, as the subject matter pertains to B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 19.2, lease negotiations for county administrative requirements pursuant to Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, as the subject matter pertains to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. K, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or behalf of the municipality or local board. Mover and a seconder, please to enter closed session 3:17 p.m. Councillor Michelle, Councillor Huffman, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
We all have the right to feel safe at work, when spending time with friends and family, when participating in activities or attending a public meeting or event. Norfolk County is committed to ensuring our spaces and workplaces are safe. Our respect and responsibility policy outlines the code of conduct for employees, patrons, contractors, volunteers, coaches, and spectators. This code of conduct also applies to phone calls, emails, and virtual and social media platforms. We all play a part in fostering a respectful and safe environment. Inappropriate behaviors such as swearing, name-calling, verbal and physical threats, physical violence, harassment, and vandalism will not be tolerated. Staff have the right to take action when incidents occur. This may include denying service, asking individuals to leave, contacting the police, or, if necessary, suspending them from county programs and facilities. Those responsible for damaging county property will be required to cover the cost of repairs, fees, and lost revenues. We are committed to providing high-quality customer service and a safe and respectful environment for all. For more information about our respect and responsibility policy, visit norfolkcounty.ca/RNR.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm excited to take you behind the scenes to meet Norfolk County's aquatics team in action.
I think the people are what make the job. I think working with the people that I do, we're a great team. We work really well together. That makes a positive work environment. That makes a positive work for the public as well. They see that we work well together, and I think that benefits them as well.
I still love coming here every day. It's an exciting job. It's always different. You're always doing new things.
Being part of our team offers staff the opportunity to develop essential skills in lifeguarding, teaching swimming lessons, customer service, first aid, and of course, teamwork.
I think swimming in general is a really great skill to have from a very young age, so being a part of children learning how to swim is super important to me.
It's a really rewarding process to see them go from not the greatest swimmer to a better or great swimmer. It's a really good stepping stone to what I want to do in the future.
It's just a nice variety, and everybody brings something different and special to the team.
Our aquatics team is dedicated to educating the community on water safety and drowning prevention.
You might be a quiet student coming in, and this job is really going to push you to find your voice and be like an impactful member of a team.
I love that it's different every day, and you get to meet new people every day and see some of the same faces every day as well. But my job is different every single day. I don't do the same, so it's amazing.
As a proud Norfolk County employee, I'm honored to be part of a team delivering life-saving skills to our community. Thank you for joining me on this behind-the-scenes tour. I hope this video gives you a glimpse of what it's like to be part of our aquatics team. If you're interested in taking advanced leadership courses to become a lifeguard and instructor, visit norfolkcounty.ca.
Hey Norfolk County! Whether you're a longtime resident, new to the area, or simply visiting, do you know about the many services provided by Norfolk County? As a single-tier municipality, we provide services that our community uses every day, including water and fire protection, curbside garbage and recycling, road and sidewalk maintenance, and so much more. We also provide services needed at unique times in life, such as a marriage or business license, or a dog tag for your new companion. And the unique geographic features in Norfolk County, from farmland and forests to lakes and wetlands, means we also provide specialized services ranging from drainage applications to tree inspections. Wondering how to contact Norfolk County? Start with Service Norfolk. Our friendly team of agents is here to help. Reach us by phone at 519-426-5870 or 226-NORFOLK from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday to Friday. Calling about an issue after hours? No problem. We have you covered. Prefer online? Email askus@norfolkcounty.ca anytime. or use our customer service portal at service.norfolkcounty.ca and get a reply right to your email inbox. Want to visit us in person? Come to one of our friendly customer service counters in Simcoe, Monday to Friday, or Delhi, Tuesday to Thursday. Service Norfolk, connecting you to Norfolk County services.
Meet Captain Clean, the toilet paper superhero, here to protect Norfolk County's pipes and keep everything flowing smoothly. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps: pee, poop, and toilet paper. Flushing anything else can cause big trouble. Things like wipes, hair, or grease can create sewer blockages. These blockages restrict flow, combine with other debris, and cause costly damage, overflow, and even water pollution. By sticking to the 3 Ps, you can help prevent clogs, reduce repair costs, and keep our water clean. For items you can't flush, proper disposal is key. Throw regular waste in the garbage. Do not believe claims on packaging that products are flushable. Take it from Captain Clean, they are not. Household hazardous waste can be dropped off at Norfolk's temporary depots during spring and fall. For things like medication and sharps disposal, take them to your local pharmacy or the health unit. And remember, grease belongs in the trash, but let it cool and store it first. Don't pour it down the drain. Be a flushing hero like Captain Clean. Together we can protect our pipes, our homes, and the environment. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps. Norfolk County is counting on you.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm here to take you behind the scenes for a quick look at what we do at Norfolk County's water treatment facility. Here in Port Rowan, the water treatment process starts by pumping water from Lake Erie up into the water treatment facility. Back in the treatment facility, I inspect large clarification tanks where the lake water enters the plant. Here we add coagulant, a chemical that attracts dirt particles together. These form into larger particles called flock, which eventually sinks and is sent to waste. Next, the water enters the filtration system where any remaining dirt particles are trapped by the filters. The water is then chlorinated and sent into a 113 cubic meter underground storage chamber. The water is then taken to the granular activated carbon filters that work like supersized 10,000 pound Brita filters to remove taste and odor. The final step is disinfection, which includes UV and a final dose of chlorine, ensuring safe, potable drinking water. Water testing is an important part of the job. Throughout the day, we take water samples at different stages of the process, up to 9 tests depending on the treatment facility. As a Norfolk resident myself, I'm proud to serve the community I live in. Thanks for joining me in this behind the scenes tour.
Hey Norfolk County, did you know that Ride Norfolk is now on demand? This means you can schedule Norfolk's public transit service to pick you up for appointments, shopping, school, or work. Ride Norfolk has partnered with Blaze Transit to offer on-demand pickups at all 95 stops across Norfolk, including this one. I booked my trip earlier today and my bus is here right on time. Since there are no fixed local schedules, you can easily book Ride Norfolk over the phone, online, or on the Blaze Transit app from your smartphone. Thanks, Charlie.
You're welcome.
Ride Norfolk's customer service team can help answer any questions you may have, get you started with the app, or book your next ride. By moving to on-demand, Ride Norfolk is helping more residents get where they need to go. To learn more, visit norfolkcounty.ca/transit.
Hi, I'm Marissa, and I'm here to take you behind the scenes for a quick look at what we do at Norfolk County's waste and recycling operations. Here at the transfer station in Simcoe, residents can bring a variety of waste materials for disposal. Norfolk operates 2 transfer stations, welcoming about 27,000 customers every year, and accepts material ranging from bulky items, wood, metal, and yard waste. Norfolk also provides curbside waste programs. Recycling from your home arrives at this facility where it is manually sorted by the type of material. You can see why it's important to separate materials into the correct bin, rinse recyclables, and remove items from bags. This facility processes 4,600 metric tons per year. That's equal to about 20 tons per day. Once items are sorted by material type, they are baled and ready to be shipped across North America to be made into new material. About 8 to 10% of the material that arrives here shouldn't have been put in the recycling bin. Residents can use our Recycle Coach app to confirm if an item can be recycled. After seeing how waste is handled, I hope this video helps show why rinsing and sorting your recyclables are important steps in the recycling process. As a Norfolk County employee, I am proud to serve the community I was raised in. Thanks for joining me on this behind-the-scenes tour.
This summer, discover the hidden gem of Norfolk County, Ontario's Garden. Stroll through historic villages where time seems to slow down. Feel the sand between your toes on our pristine Lake Erie beaches. From live theater that captivates to trails that wind through breathtaking landscapes, adventure and relaxation await at every turn. Meet the farmers who grow your dinner and taste wine and beer crafted right here. Experience Norfolk County this summer, where small-town charm meets farm-fresh flavor. Ontario's Garden. It's time you came home to it.
Welcome to Norfolk County, where land meets lake and opportunity grows deep and wide. Located on the north shore of Lake Erie, in the heart of southwestern Ontario, Norfolk spans 1,600 square kilometers, making us one of Ontario's largest single-tier municipalities. Our roots run deep in agriculture, food production, and advanced manufacturing, industries that shaped our past and are powering Ontario's future economy. Home to over 70,000, we are bold, diverse, and fiercely local. From Port Dover to Long Point, our folks are putting down roots, sometimes in sand, sometimes in soil, but always in a place they're proud to call home. Big land, big vision, unmatched potential. That's Norfolk.
Hey, Norfolk County.
Hey, Norfolk County.
Hey, Norfolk County. Hey, Norfolk County. Hey, Norfolk County.
Hey, Norfolk County.
My name is Bowden Winicki.
My name is Lindsay Kaliokoski.
My name is Alex Ryan. I work as a park student.
I work as an economic development coordinator.
I work on roads department in Delhi.
I work as a supervisor for waste management.
I work as a committee coordinator in the clerk's department.
Okay, what's the first question? What I love about my job is the people.
All right, what do I love about my job?
It's really the community. No day is the same.
It is because I get to work with a bunch of great guys.
It directly impacts really positively the residents of Norfolk County.
I love the people that I get a chance to work with. Every day is different. The mix of things is what makes me happy and keeps me going.
First and foremost, the community. The people of this community are so welcoming.
Is the amazing team I get to work with every day here at Norfolk County.
Opportunity to help people, to help my community.
One of the things I love the most about my job is my team. I love who I work with and what I do while I'm here.
I get to work on projects and in programs that support our community, that help make lives better for the people who live here, who work here, and who come here to visit.
Every day you feel like you've accomplished something on the way home and you're working with a bunch of great people who are
equally as committed to the community and serving our communities.
The pace here is very good and great work-life balance.
They put wellness on the forefront, so I'm part of the Apple Committee, and there's lots of opportunity at Norfolk County.
Flexible work hours, great work-life balance, great staff, great friends, and of course, what's not to love about Norfolk County? We're Ontario's garden.
I love helping people, I love helping residents, and that's what makes Norfolk County a great place to come to work.
I chose to work for Norfolk County because I grew up in Delhi, so it's close to home, and I've enjoyed working for my community and my friends and family.
Definitely 100% the people. There are lots of community champions, and everyone's been so kind and welcoming.
Because I was born and raised here, and I wanted to help give back to my community.
I love giving back to a community that I grew up in. I love my team, and I love that I can leave a legacy here in the communities.
When I had the opportunity to come home and serve the public, I jumped at that opportunity.
I started my career as an area planner for this place. It's interesting that at the end of my career, this opportunity came up to come back and make Norfolk a better place.
Is being able to live and work in the community that we're a part of.
I did choose to work for Norfolk because I'm an engineer by trade, and I like to solve problems.
And realized how rewarding it was to be able to contribute to initiatives within the area that I've always called home. I love it here. You should consider joining the public sector, joining the municipality, because it's so diverse. There's something for everyone. Local government is the closest to the people. We get to work with our residents day in and day out, and there is something for you in every department for Norfolk.
Hey, Norfolk County. Do you know how your property taxes are spent? Let's take a look together. First, we need to start with Norfolk County's budget. Every year, staff and council confirm the funds required to be collected from the property taxes paid by you and 35,000 other Norfolk County taxpayers. These funds contribute to Norfolk County's levy and capital budgets, which lay out how your tax dollars are used. The capital budget is also funded by the rate budget, the funds paid by residents known as ratepayers for water and wastewater services through their monthly water bill. The levy budget is used to deliver programs and services for residents ranging from emergency services like fire and EMS, waste services like garbage collection, recreation services like arenas, trails, and parks, maintenance services like snow removal and road repair, and human services like homelessness prevention and health education programs. Our levy budget also supports our libraries and museums, administrative services for council, and the many staff who keep Norfolk County operating. Services like recreation programs for children, adults, and seniors, and our Ride Norfolk Transit program are also paid for with property taxes and supplemented by user fees. And across Ontario, a portion of each resident's property tax bill goes to our local school boards. About a third of the property taxes collected are allocated to the capital budget or reserves for future capital spending, which includes other funding sources like the federal and provincial government, reserve funds, grants, debt, and development charges, as well as funds from the rate budget. Together, the capital budget goes toward longer-term projects, such as our investments in water and wastewater facilities, as well as building and renewing our parks, roadways, pools, arenas, and other things we use every day. So the next time you hear someone ask, "Where are my property taxes going?" you can tell them to look down, look up, and look forward. Your tax dollars are at work all around you every day. When you visit your local park with your family, drive to work on cleared roads, register for swimming lessons, get rid of that old couch you've outgrown, or contact Service Norfolk about that pothole on your street that needs to be fixed. Your tax dollars are also being invested in initiatives to improve the lives of Norfolk County residents in the years to come to make Norfolk County a better place for future generations. While Norfolk County's budget is prepared once a year, your feedback helps us make decisions and plan for the future. We are committed to listening to you so that our budget reflects what is important to our community. Learn more about Norfolk County's budget at norfolkcounty.ca/budget.
Today, we're announcing an exciting partnership with Scott Lynn and Norfolk County Economic Development, and we're transforming transport trailers into mobile ambassadors. We're showcasing Norfolk's story of opportunity excellence and quality of life across all of North America, and Scotland is the ideal partner with an amazing logistics network and will help us share our story all across North America.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I'm here to take you behind the scenes on a capital project in Norfolk County. We begin planning capital projects by analyzing our infrastructure needs related to roads, water mains, storm and sanitary sewers, as well as bridges. We assess their overall condition, age, and servicing requirements. This provides a solid foundation to ensure Norfolk has the hard infrastructure for current and future needs. Once a project is determined and approved by Council, we retain an engineer to complete the design. During this stage, we engage the public through public information centers or postings on the county website to inform them of the upcoming project and provide an opportunity to share feedback. After the design is completed and all approvals are in place, we hire a contractor through a public bidding process. During the construction phase, we track progress, budget, and continue to engage with the public. We also work with other departments to ensure the overall success of the project. Once complete, we report and track any warranty issues for 2 years. We measure a project's success by its ability to enhance infrastructure and positively impact residents. As a Norfolk County employee, I enjoy building the community that has given me so much. Thank you for taking the time to join me on this behind-the-scenes tour.
Deputations are a way for you and all residents of Norfolk County to speak before Council about relevant matters in our community. To begin, search www.norfolkcounty.ca. Then select the Government tab. Under the Government tab, select Provide Deputation/Speak at a Council or Committee Meeting. This page provides general information regarding deputations. Under the subheading Register to Speak, click the Public Hearing/Deputation Form link to pre-register your deputation. Notice of Collection. By checking the Notice of Collection box, you are agreeing to the above statement. Selecting the type of meeting you want. There are several types of meetings that allow deputations. Please listen closely as we explain each option. Council meeting. Council deputations must pertain to a matter listed on the upcoming meeting agenda. For the remaining meeting choices, you may present a deputation if the topic pertains to the committee you are presenting to. Once you select the type of meeting you want to deliver your deputation, you can complete the rest of the document. Now choose whether you will attend the meeting in person or virtually. Finally, select if you will be providing materials during your deputation. If you have materials for distribution during the council meeting, please bring 15 hard copies for council and staff. Now click Next to move to Step 2. In Step 2, please fill out your personal information. Once your personal information is completed, click Next. Lastly, review your information and select Next to submit your form. You have now completed the deputation request form. You will receive a confirmation email from the Clerk's Department that they've received your request. Next, we will talk about what to do on the day of your deputation.
So, you've received your approval and the day of your deputation is upon you. For starters, council is located here, at 50 Colburn Street. Now there's two entrances you can use when you arrive. One is here, located off Colburn, and one located off Talbot Street. When you arrive, you'll have three main options to park. The first is to park at the Simcoe Town Center Mall, which is where Food Basics is located. Your second option is 2-hour street parking on Court Street. And your third option is 2-hour street parking on Lott Street. If you can't find any parking in any of those three options, don't worry. Downtown Simcoe has plenty of street parking in all of the surrounding areas. If you enter through the Colburn Street doors, you'll have to make your way through the building to get to council chambers. But don't worry, if you require any assistance, you can feel free to ask Service Norfolk at the front desk. Make your way along this path and you'll end up in the main lobby. To your left, there'll be an elevator. You can either ring the bell or go ask the people at the front desk for assistance. If you don't need to use the elevator, you can head on up the green staircase and go up to council chambers. If you enter through the Talbot Street doors, the elevator will be immediately in front of you, or the green staircase will be ready for you to go up and deliver your presentation. Once you reach the top of the stairs, you'll have made it to council chambers. Feel free to take a seat here or here and wait for council to call your name when it's time to present. When council calls your name, make your way to the podium and ensure that you don't walk between the railing and the chairs on your way there. When you arrive at the podium, adjust it to your desired height using the arrow buttons and turn the microphone on using the button on the right. If you're giving your deputation in front of council, begin by saying, through the mayor. If you're giving it in front of a committee, begin by saying, through the chair. Then, clearly state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to give your presentation. Upon having 1 minute remaining, the chair will give you notice. When you're finished your presentation, council may have questions for you. Ensure that you always begin your answer by saying through the mayor or through the chair to councillor and their last name. If you can't answer the question, that's okay. Inform council that you'll gather more information and get back to them. After that, council will have heard out what you've had to say and they'll take appropriate action as they deem necessary. And now you've finished your deputation. You can either have a seat and watch the rest of the meeting, or you can leave through the door that you came in and ensure that you leave as quietly as possible.
Hey Norfolk County, my name is Anna and I'm here to share some water safety tips to keep you and your family safe around the water. Knowing how to swim is a life skill and an essential part of staying safe and having fun. Swimming lessons are the best way to learn essential swim survival skills to recover from a fall into deep water. Think you're too old for lessons? There are programs designed for teens and adults as well. With so many lakes and rivers, Canadians of all ages are avid boaters. Always wear a life jacket, it could save your life. Never swim alone, regardless of age and skill level. Always swim with a buddy. A buddy can throw you a buoyant aid if you get into trouble. When possible, wade into unknown waters to prevent injury. Backyard pools are a great place to make family memories. But remember, if you are not within arm's reach of your child in and around the water, then you've gone too far. Drowning can occur in as little as 10 seconds and it is silent. Every drowning death is preventable. Take time to educate yourself and those around you to ensure you're staying safe and having fun around the water. For more information, visit norfolkcounty.ca/watersafety.
We all have the right to feel safe at work, when spending time with friends and family, when participating in activities or attending a public meeting or event. Norfolk County is committed to ensuring our spaces and workplaces are safe. Our Respect and Responsibility policy outlines the code of conduct for employees, patrons, contractors, volunteers, coaches, and spectators. This code of conduct also applies to phone calls, emails, and virtual and social media platforms. We all play a part in fostering a respectful and safe environment. Inappropriate behaviors such as swearing, name-calling, verbal and physical threats, physical violence, harassment, and vandalism will not be tolerated. Staff have the right to take action when incidents occur. This may include denying service, asking individuals to leave, contacting the police, or, if necessary, suspending them from county programs and facilities. Those responsible for damaging county property will be required to cover the cost of repairs, fees, and lost revenues. We are committed to providing high-quality customer service and a safe and respectful environment for all. For more information about our respect and responsibility policy, visit norfolkcounty.ca/RNR.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm excited to take you behind the scenes to meet Norfolk County's aquatics team in action.
I think the people are what make the job. I think working with the people that I do, we're a great team. We work really well together. That makes a positive work environment. That makes a positive work for the public as well. They see that we work well together, and I think that benefits them as well.
I still love coming here every day. It's an exciting job. It's always different. You're always doing new things.
Being part of our team offers staff the opportunity to develop essential skills in lifeguarding, teaching swimming lessons, customer service, first aid, and of course, teamwork.
I think swimming in general is a really great skill to have from a very young age, so being a part of children learning how to swim is super important to me.
It's a really rewarding process to see them go from not the greatest swimmer to a better or great swimmer. It's a really good stepping stone to what I want to do in the future.
It's just a nice variety, and everybody brings something different and special to the team.
Our aquatics team is dedicated to educating the community on water safety and drowning prevention.
You might be a quiet student coming in, and this job is really going to push you to find your voice and be like an impactful member of a team.
I love that it's different every day, and you get to meet new people every day and see some of the same faces every day as well. But my job is different every single day. I don't do the same, so it's amazing.
As a proud Norfolk County employee, I'm honored to be part of a team delivering life-saving skills to our community. Thank you for joining me on this behind-the-scenes tour. I hope this video gives you a glimpse of what it's like to be part of our aquatics team. If you're interested in taking advanced leadership courses to become a lifeguard and instructor, visit norfolkcounty.ca.
Hey Norfolk County! Whether you're a longtime resident, new to the area, or simply visiting, do you know about the many services provided by Norfolk County? As a single-tier municipality, we provide services that our community uses every day, including water and fire protection, curbside garbage and recycling, road and sidewalk maintenance, and so much more. We also provide services needed at unique times in life, such as a marriage or business license, or a dog tag for your new companion. And the unique geographic features in Norfolk County, from farmland and forests to lakes and wetlands, means we also provide specialized services ranging from drainage applications to tree inspections. Wondering how to contact Norfolk County? Start with Service Norfolk. Our friendly team of agents is here to help. Reach us by phone at 519-426-5870 or 226-NORFOLK from 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday. Calling about an issue after hours? No problem. We have you covered. Prefer online? Email askus@norfolkcounty.ca anytime, or use our customer service portal at service.norfolkcounty.ca and get a reply right to your email inbox. Want to visit us in person? Come to one of our friendly customer service counters in Simcoe, Monday to Friday, or Delhi, Tuesday to Thursday. Service Norfolk, connecting you to Norfolk County services.
Meet Captain Clean, the toilet paper superhero, here to protect Norfolk County's pipes and keep everything flowing smoothly. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps: pee, poop, and toilet paper. Flushing anything else can cause big trouble. Things like wipes, hair, or grease can create sewer blockages. These blockages restrict flow, combine with other debris, and cause costly damage, overflow, and even water pollution. By sticking to the 3 Ps, you can help prevent clogs, reduce repair costs, and keep our water clean. For items you can't flush, proper disposal is key. Throw regular waste in the garbage. Do not believe claims on packaging that products are flushable. Take it from Captain Clean, they are not. Household hazardous waste can be dropped off at Norfolk's temporary depots during spring and fall. For things like medication and sharps disposal, take them to your local pharmacy or the health unit. And remember, grease belongs in the trash, but let it cool and store it first. Don't pour it down the drain. Be a flushing hero like Captain Clean. Together we can protect our pipes, our homes, and the environment. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps. Norfolk County is counting on you.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm here to take you behind the scenes for a quick look at what we do at Norfolk County's water treatment facility. Here in Port Rowan, the water treatment process starts by pumping water from Lake Erie up into the water treatment facility. Back in the treatment facility, I inspect large clarification tanks where the lake water enters the plant. Here we add coagulant, a chemical that attracts dirt particles together. These form into larger particles called flock, which eventually sinks and is sent to waste. Next, the water enters the filtration system where any remaining dirt particles are trapped by the filters. The water is then chlorinated and sent into a 113 cubic meter underground storage chamber. The water is then taken to the granular activated carbon filters that work like supersized 10,000 pound Brita filters to remove taste and odor. The final step is disinfection, which includes UV and a final dose of chlorine, ensuring safe, potable drinking water. Water testing is an important part of the job. Throughout the day, we take water samples at different stages of the process, up to 9 tests depending on the treatment facility. As a Norfolk resident myself, I am proud to serve the community I live in. Thanks for joining me in this behind the scenes tour.
Hey Norfolk County, did you know that Ride Norfolk is now on demand? This means you can schedule Norfolk's public transit service to pick you up for appointments, shopping, school, or work. Ride Norfolk has partnered with Blaze Transit to offer on-demand pickups at all 95 stops across Norfolk, including this one. I booked my trip earlier today and my bus is here right on time. Since there are no fixed local schedules, you can easily book Ride Norfolk over the phone, online, or on the Blaze Transit app from your smartphone. Thanks, Charlie.
You're welcome.
Ride Norfolk's customer service team can help answer any questions you may have, get you started with the app, or book your next ride. By moving to on-demand, Ride Norfolk is helping more residents get where they need to go. To learn more, visit norfolkcounty.ca/transit.
Hi, I'm Marissa, and I'm here to take you behind the scenes for a quick look at what we do at Norfolk County's waste and recycling operations. Here at the transfer station in Simcoe, residents can bring a variety of waste materials for disposal. Norfolk operates 2 transfer stations, welcoming about 27,000 customers every year, and accepts material ranging from bulky items, wood, metal, and yard waste. Norfolk also provides curbside waste programs. Recycling from your home arrives at this facility where it is manually sorted by the type of material. You can see why it's important to separate materials into the correct bin, rinse recyclables, and remove items from bags. This facility processes 4,600 metric tons per year. That's equal to about 20 tons per day. Once items are sorted by material type, they are baled and ready to be shipped across North America to be made into new material. About 8 to 10% of the material that arrives here shouldn't have been put in the recycling bin. Residents can use our Recycle Coach app to confirm if an item can be recycled. After seeing how waste is handled, I hope this video helps show why rinsing and sorting your recyclables are important steps in the recycling process. As a Norfolk County employee, I am proud to serve the community I was raised in. Thanks for joining me on this behind-the-scenes tour.
This summer, discover the hidden gem of Norfolk County, Ontario's Garden. Stroll through historic villages where time seems to slow down. Feel the sand between your toes on our pristine Lake Erie beaches. From live theater that captivates to trails that wind through breathtaking landscapes, adventure and relaxation await at every turn. Meet the farmers who grow your dinner and taste wine and beer crafted right here. Experience Norfolk County this summer, where small-town charm meets farm-fresh flavor. Ontario's Garden. It's time you came home to it.
Welcome to Norfolk County, where land meets lake and opportunity grows deep and wide. Located on the north shore of Lake Erie, in the heart of southwestern Ontario, Norfolk spans 1,600 square kilometers, making us one of Ontario's largest single-tier municipalities. Our roots run deep in agriculture, food production, and advanced manufacturing, industries that shaped our past and are powering Ontario's future economy. Home to over 70,000, we are bold, diverse, and fiercely local. From Port Dover to Long Point, our folks are putting down roots, sometimes in sand, sometimes in soil, but always in a place they're proud to call home. Big land, big vision, unmatched potential. That's Norfolk.
Hey Norfolk County.
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 My name is Bowden Winicki.
My name is Lindsay Kaliokoski.
My name is Alex Ryan. I work as a park student.
I work as an economic development coordinator.
I work on roads department in Delhi.
I work as a supervisor for waste management.
I work as a committee coordinator in the clerk's department.
Okay, what's the first question? What I love about my job is the people.
All right, what do I love about my job?
It's really the community. No day is the same.
It is because I get to work with a bunch of great guys.
It directly impacts really positively the residents of Norfolk County.
I love the people that I get a chance to work with.
Every day is different. The mix of things is what makes me happy and keeps me going.
First and foremost, the community. The people of this community are so welcoming.
Is the amazing team I get to work with every day here at Norfolk County.
Opportunity to help people, to help my community.
One of the things I love the most about my job is my team. I love who I work with and what I do while I'm here.
I get to work on projects and in programs that support our community, that help make lives better for the people who live here, who work here, and who come here to visit.
Every day you feel like you've accomplished something on the way home, and you're working with a bunch of great people who are equally as committed to the community and serving our communities.
The pace here is very good and great work-life balance.
They put wellness on the forefront, so I'm part of the Apple Committee, and there's lots of opportunity at Norfolk County.
Flexible work hours, great work-life balance, great staff, great friends, and of course, what's not to love about Norfolk County? We're Ontario's Garden.
I love helping people, I love helping residents, and that's what makes Norfolk County a great place to come to work.
I chose to work for Norfolk County because I grew up in Delhi, so it's close to home, and I've enjoyed working for my community and my friends and family.
Definitely 100% the people. There are lots of community champions and everyone's been so kind and welcoming.
Because I was born and raised here and I wanted to help give back to my community.
I love giving back to a community that I grew up in. I love my team and I love that I can leave a legacy here in the community.
When I had the opportunity to come home and serve the public, I jumped at that opportunity.
I started my career as an area planner for this place. It's interesting that at the end of my career, this opportunity came up to come back and make Norfolk a better place.
Is being able to live and work in the community that we're a part of.
I did choose to work for Norfolk because I'm an engineer by trade and I like to solve problems.
And realized how rewarding it was to be able to contribute to initiatives within the area that I've always called home. I love it here. You should consider joining the public sector, joining the municipality, because it's so diverse. There's something for everyone. Local government is the closest to the people. We get to work with our residents day in and day out, and there is something for you in every department for Norfolk.
Hey, Norfolk County. Do you know how your property taxes are spent? Let's take a look together. First, we need to start with Norfolk County's budget. Every year, staff and council confirm the funds required to be collected from the property taxes paid by you and 35,000 other Norfolk County taxpayers. These funds contribute to Norfolk County's levy and capital budgets, which lay out how your tax dollars are used. The capital budget is also funded by the rate budget, the funds paid by residents known as ratepayers for water and wastewater services through their monthly water bill. The levy budget is used to deliver programs and services for residents ranging from emergency services like fire and EMS, waste services like garbage collection, recreation services like arenas, trails, and parks, maintenance services like snow removal and road repair, and human services like homelessness prevention and health education programs. Our levy budget also supports our libraries and museums, administrative services for council, and the many staff who keep Norfolk County operating. Services like recreation programs for children, adults, and seniors, and our Ride Norfolk Transit program are also paid for with property taxes and supplemented by user fees. And across Ontario, a portion of each resident's property tax bill goes to our local school boards. About a third of the property taxes collected are allocated to the capital budget or reserves for future capital spending, which includes other funding sources like the federal and provincial government, reserve funds, grants, debt, and development charges, as well as funds from the rate budget. Together, the capital budget goes toward longer-term projects, such as our investments in water and wastewater facilities, as well as building and renewing our parks, roadways, pools, arenas, and other things we use every day. So the next time you hear someone ask, "Where are my property taxes going?" you can tell them to look down, look up, and look forward. Your tax dollars are at work all around you every day. When you visit your local park with your family, drive to work on cleared roads, register for swimming lessons, get rid of that old couch you've outgrown, or contact Service Norfolk about that pothole on your street that needs to be fixed. Your tax dollars are also being invested in initiatives to improve the lives of Norfolk County residents in the years to come to make Norfolk County a better place for future generations. While Norfolk County's budget is prepared once a year, your feedback helps us make decisions and plan for the future. We are committed to listening to you so that our budget reflects what is important to our community. Learn more about Norfolk County's budget at norfolkcounty.ca/budget.
Today, we're announcing an exciting partnership with Scott Lynn and Norfolk County Economic Development All right, a motion to reconvene in open session, please. 4:08 p.m. Moved by Councillor Van Andriesch, seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All in favor? That's carried. We have two motions or directions that we will report out on. The first is on your screen. That council appoint Michelle Cochran to the Norfolk County Library Board for the term expiring November 30th, 2026. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Huffman moves and Councillor Van Andriesch seconds. All in favor? Carried. And the second item is that the closed session item be received as information and that council provided direction. Moved by Councillor Berry, seconded by Councillor Columbus. All in favor? Carried. Wonderful. Confirming bylaw, please. Bylaw 2025-88 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of Council of Norfolk County. This regular council meeting held on the 28th day of October 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Michelle, seconded by Councillor Huffman. All in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn 4:09 p.m. moved by Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Michelle. All in favor? Go Leafs, go. Go Jays, go. Good night.